You're listening to the Boxing Voice.
It's showtime! Welcome back, boxing fans. Blood is good. Blood is emotion. Too much blood coming out of the eye. Blood is a story, a drama.
Deep gas, blood pouring right into his eye.
Blood is what we want to see in terms of passion.
Blood streaming now from the cut in the eye, nose, and mouth, his cheeks swollen, and he's still drawing.
What we want is a bloody good fight tonight. We have Heather, the Heat Hardy. Is this you?
This is me. I think I need to talk to you every night because you make me smile and blush over here.
Never been a lame-o, never been a lame-o. Yeah, I love the strip. I'm okay.
You serious? You serious?
And that's the good thing about UK. That's why I can't hate on them guys, man. They love fucking boxing.
No fighters in England. They all bums.
Did you hear what this idiot just said?
Yo, son, you're gonna get your ass beat by Molina, son.
Are you fucking kidding me?
He's overrated.
Just gonna push it from me right now. For the interview? Yes. Get your hands go. Get out of here, Bert. Go home. What next?
You want the table starts to please. You not even running. You want the table starts to please.
Boxingvoice.com.
This is why we use the word sensation.
Get at me. Get at me. Damn. I love that intro. That's for sure. This is another episode of the Boxing Voice. I'm glad all you guys took the time to tune in. Let's talk some fucking boxing. Got a lot of announcements to make. Definitely a lot of headlines to touch on. We're going to get through all that. First up, of course, is our faithful sponsors. None greater, none more faithful than the people that support this show. And that includes you guys as well. But, big shout out to Fast Break Bail Bonds. Big sponsor of ours. So if you're ever in a jam, just call 973-497-7000. These guys are doing bails as little as 1% down. So, like, if you got locked up for, like, a $10,000 bail, your girl could come get you for, like, $100. So definitely need to call that number, 973-497-7000. I definitely want to give a shout out to my boy Christopher, man. Christopher, for all you guys that don't know, I think he called in last week, and he said he finally got a chance to put away the kids and finally call in, but he always listens on the podcast, of course. So you guys know him, and big shout out to Chris, man. He took out the time to donate to us, but he set up a subscription with our PayPal account, and I definitely appreciate that because he believes in the movement, And this is a movement, man. Well-oiled machine. Little by little, we chugging up the ranks. Speaking of ranks, man, a lot of thank yous to everybody out there that continues to rate us on iTunes. Something big is, has just happened with iTunes. I'm very happy. I'm gonna definitely give you guys more details as I can. But they reached out, man, so that's always a good thing, Definitely, and that wouldn't even be an option if it wasn't for all you guys that took the time out to go over there and rate us, giving your honest opinion of this show. And we definitely appreciate that, man, for real. We got a few new reviews that I want to get to, of course. I had one specific. I think it might be this one, right? Well, I'm going to just give out 3 shout-outs. I know I believe I did useless warnings already, but Jay Ponce and L Train, definitely. 2 new reviews, 5-star joints, and definitely appreciate it. So, first one comes from Jay Ponce, and it's titled Legit, and it's a 5-star review, and he says, with Ness, Vic, James, Beeb, and Mario, you get 6 completely different but absolutely legitimate perspectives on current topics. Now 6, I don't know, because I don't think all those names are equal to 6, but anyway. And he says, in the world of boxing, from Telemundo to Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, from the puppet master Al Heyman to the shady bastard Bob Arum. You get the scoop on anything and everything relevant in the sport of boxing. Keep up the hard work. The podcasts are etched in my schedule. Thank you very much, Jay Ponce. Definitely appreciate the review. Next one comes from L Train 43. Being a 43-year-old boxing fanatic and having friends whom only watch boxing for the big fights, I've finally found the show I can listen to and debate in my head with and against the host every week. The way almost every fight is talked about, from Friday night fights to showbox to pay-per-views, is awesome. Although I haven't had the opportunity to call in, I'm definitely going to try soon. Keep up the great work. FYI, Lawrence Cole is the worst ref in boxing. So definitely shout out to you two guys, man. Thank you for listening. Thank you for definitely subscribing and to iTunes and rating us 5 stars over there, man. We appreciate it. Speaking of appreciation, gotta show some love, of course, to Audible.com, man, for giving us the opportunity to offer you guys, one book for 1 month free by using our hyperlink over there on theboxingvoice.com/affiliate sponsors. I got the numbers and I'm a little bit depressed. I mean, not a lot of you guys use this link and helped us out with this, because at the same time you're receiving something and you're supporting the Boxing Voice, and it was for me, being as though that this started from nothing. Having Audible reach out and wanting to sponsor this show, I really thought that I would be able to do better numbers than what I just seen. So I'm upset and disappointed with you guys. Next month, these numbers better change. I mean, you guys got to sign up. You got to show these guys why they chose us. If not, they're gonna get rid of us. Come on, help us out here. But anyway, man, chat room roll call. Last week, somebody reminded me, man. Shout out to you, because that's how you do it. But we got a lot to talk about here. I guess first things first, man. I want to talk a little bit about Pacquiao and this 2-year contract extension. Oh, man, I just don't understand. First of all, forget about the possibility that fighting Mayweather is, again, even further away from an option by agreeing to fight with Top Rank for 2 more years. Let's just forget that. Let's just focus on what could happen in these next 2 years, and these alleged 4 to 5 fights that Manny Pacquiao is going to have on Top Rank. Who's he going to fight? Honestly, you and I, and when I say you and I, of course, the many yous that are out there listening, listen, you and I, of course, we're going to watch Ruslan versus Pacquiao, and we'll watch anything that they give us, because we're diehards. It doesn't even matter the names, but let's be honest. I mean, who over there is a B-side? If Marquez decides to continue in the manner in which he is, where he doesn't look like he wants to, have a rematch. I mean, you got guys like his trainer, Nacho Bernstein, on one point saying, no, we don't want that fight, and then saying, yeah, I don't want to fight. It's okay to fight in Macau because of the tax break, So, I mean, what's really going to happen? But let's just take him out, hypothetically. Let's just take Marquez out of the equation. Who is Pacquiao's B-side? His numbers already dropped crazy. Now, with these opponents that are left to him, what is he going to do?
It's me, Mario.
You mean what's he gonna do from this point, from the frame that he just signed? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm just saying in general, who's he gonna fight? But
I mean, that's the biggest point of it all, though, Ness. That's the one thing that I don't want everybody to forget, because we can dwell on Mayweather, we could dwell on Marquez, we could dwell on all the mega fights for mega superstars, but for me, this is what I love, in a sense. If these guys are going to still stay in boxing, and Vic's been, kind of saying for a while now that these guys should get out and let other guys at the top, then what we should do is have them compete on these lower stakes where they're not getting these $1 million paydays and they're fighting tough opponents like a Provodnikov, like a Danny Garcia, like a Lucas Matisse. Obviously, a couple of those names aren't as relevant for Pacquiao, but then again, you don't know. I mean, with De La Hoya and Bob Arum talking, I feel like some of these other fights are a little more possible. I feel like they have a little more relevancy than they did maybe a few months ago, or at least last year. But I, for one, am happy to see Pacquiao fight guys at the top of the sport. Maybe they're not mega superstars. Maybe they haven't accomplished things like Pacquiao, Mayweather, and De La Hoya have done from an economic standpoint and even from a boxing standpoint. But all I know is some of these guys are really tough. And in a few years, when they take the mantle, we're going to be wishing, man, I swear, I wish we could have seen Danny Garcia, Pacquiao. I wish we could have seen, Provodnikov, Pacquiao. We're going to be saying these things, and it's too late. Instead of these rematches that we get. So I'm more on the side of these guys retiring. I would rather that happen. I don't want to see Mayweather fight. I don't want to see Pacquiao fight again. To me, it's done. It's played. But if they're going to fight, at least let them fight the toughest. Even if they're not the biggest fights, at least they're challenging themselves.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You're speaking on the standpoint of a hardcore, because what I'm trying to say is, who's the B-side? If Marquez denies him a fifth fight, who's Pacquiao's B-side?
I mean, that's a good question, man. I can't really... I mean, I'm not going to be an optimist and say that everything's just okay as long as these guys stay in the sport. I understand it's starting to run dry, but, I mean, I don't know, man. I can't really think of one.
I mean, I guess the most, like, speaking on a top ranked side only, like, I guess the biggest thing would be Ruslan, assuming that he gets by this fight and he looks really good, and then all of a sudden just take a gamble. But other than that, I mean, there's no one outside of Marquez, really, no one.
No, there isn't. There really isn't. I mean, I don't know. Do you throw Gamboa's name in the mix and have them come down to 140, come up 140?
He's not even getting past Crawford. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, you actually know what, I have Crawford in that fight too. I mean, I don't know, dude. It's run dry. I mean, Mikey Garcia would have been, fairly obvious, and I guess at least as obvious as anyone else could be. But I mean, it doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. So I don't know. I mean, I still would like to see Garcia though and Pacquiao fight. I think Garcia Pacquiao is an interesting style matchup because they both kind of do similar things, but they're better than each other on each side of the aisle.
Really? You about to fantasize of a fight when a guy that he fights at 126, 130?
First of all, he's a big 130. He's a big 130. I mean, that guy was always destined for 140, but if he comes down to 140...
This is exactly the reason that I brought this topic up, because that's how bad it is. We're reaching as far as featherweight division because he has no opponents over there because of this Cold War. But, Arum told ESPN.com, of course, that this next Manny Pacquiao fight was going to happen in November and possibly in Macau. They were going to look at what Marquez wanted to do, and if not, they were going to, seek other options.
Yeah.
I mean, again with the Macau, like, that doesn't bother you? Like, I don't even like those cards. They don't look or feel the same.
No, they don't. No, and you're absolutely right. To me, it's like a different quality of show. Like them saying we're gonna go to Macau is like saying, hey, we're gonna give you a Wendy's burger when we promised you a McRib or even like a T-bone. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's at the end of the day something that you've gotten to you start associating Macau events with just the lower tier of boxing events in general. And Pacquiao, even his fights that have been, or I guess his one fight that's been in Macau, you associate that with, one of the worst lopsided fights that he's had, maybe outside of Joshua Clottey. But to me, I understand the financial demand, or I guess the financial aspect. I get why they're going to Macau. I get why, they're against the taxes. And even Nacho's come out and said, somebody who's, made it clear where he stands in the Pacquiao-Marquez side of things, that he said if these guys are going to fight again, both sides should explore Macau because of the taxes. And it's pretty bad when you got somebody like that, saying that the U.S. isn't as viable a choice anymore. But I agree, from a fan side of things, it just doesn't feel the same. I mean, the crowd's like super quiet, and and it's nothing against them. I mean, that venue and that country has hosted some of the most incredible sports events in the history of the universe. But at the end of the day, boxing is a completely different aspect. I don't think that Bob Arum's gotten a complete handle on the way to kind of figure everything out and let it translate, and the numbers have proven that too.
Yeah, man. I want to take some calls really quick. I'm trying to shorten this whole time down for these people. 803, you're live on the Boxing Voice. Who's this?
This is Rock, you know what I mean, out of South Carolina. Now, check it out. I hear y'all talking about the Manny Pacquiao, the Pacquiao fight, and Mayweather is further than ever. But, according to, what I'm seeing, it looks like Oscar De La Hoya and Bob Arum wants to work it out. You know what I mean? If Oscar De La Hoya and Bob Arum works it out, you can have Golden Boy fighters fighting top-ranked fighters. However, with this being rumored, and it looks like it, like I said last week or last Thursday or whatever it was, or whenever it was, it looks like to me that, and I could be wrong, you know what I'm saying? But it looks like to me, that's why, Mayweather came up with this retirement thing. Y'all say it's for publicity, but, I just see it that I believe that Mayweather could beat Pacquiao, you know what I mean? Especially after he got flattened by Marquez. But Mayweather's still leery of Pacquiao for some reason, in my opinion. And I just don't pretty much understand it, because Oscar De La Hoya is trying to work it out with Bob Arum for the sport of boxing. And I think this fight is more closer than ever, you know what I mean, if they're working it out. I just don't think that Mayweather wants to make it happen. And if he does or not, that's his decision, that's his prerogative. But that's the way it's looking to me,
Well,
I just want to just, end it on that for now.
Well, Rock, thanks for calling in. I do have to disagree that, this is any closer, because the fact that Richard Schaefer refuses to deal with Bob Arum means that for any of this to take place, first a chain of events has to occur, which is going to start with, Oscar making some sort of official contract deal, whether that be for a fight or a couple of fights with Bob Arum, which then would make Richard Schaefer walk, which also would make Mayweather Promotions pick up Richard Schaefer and align themselves. So it's just a lot of things that have to happen. I don't see this as any closer at all. Mario, what do you think? Mario, you're on mute, my friend.
Okay, my bad. I completely agree with you, Ness. It's not any closer, because the fact is, it's Mayweather who's the one who has to get close to the scenario, because Bob Arum and De La Hoya have no cards on the table when it comes to Pacquiao and Mayweather. I don't care how bad they want to make the fight. I don't care if they would sacrifice everything they have to make the fight. It is ultimately Mayweather who has all the cards on his side of the table. The only way that I would, kind of lean towards that side is if I heard Al Heyman started coming into the discussion. Oh, Al Heyman's reached out to Bob Arum, or Al Heyman and De La Hoya have had some closed-door meetings. Then maybe it's like, oh, well, something can happen there. But until Mayweather comes out and says anything that is similar to, wanting to at least sit down and talk to Pacquiao, then I just can't see it. I can't see it happening. He, for some reason, does not want to fight him. Well, whether it be the Bob Arum thing or not, it doesn't seem like he wants to take the fight.
That can segue us into I guess, a theoretical conversation. I mean, Mayweather doesn't want to take this fight, but his numbers are dipping. I mean, it's obvious at this point. You and I, we don't do this shit twice a week to lie to our listeners. I mean, it's obvious. The same shit happened with the Guerrero numbers. Like, why aren't the numbers released? Why aren't they released?
I don't know, man. I really couldn't say.
Yes, what Mayweather did, but when he fought Canelo and they broke records, they released that shit like in 24 hours. So
Shit, right.
now that, you know, because you got Ellerby dismissing the notions of low pay-per-view numbers left and right in the media. I mean, he was quoted saying that, you know, that they were pleased. You know, we're pleased with the numbers. I mean, how could you be pleased and we can't be pleased? Please us then. Please us. Because you know why? I'm not a guy that lives and dies on pay-per-view numbers. You know what I'm saying? But when you got a guy constantly talking about he does the numbers, then be honest. It ain't like we're going to stop watching you just because your numbers dipped a little bit. Look at Pacquiao. He's like a roller coaster, for God's sakes. What he do in Macau? 400 or something shit like that? I mean, we ain't going to stop loving you because you ain't do 1 million. That shit was an anomaly anyway for boxing to continue to pump out that many pay-per-views this frequently. And now they're charging us $75. I mean, we had to break at some point. Don't blame it on yourself, Floyd, but be real. I mean,
Yeah.
you're a man, right? Be fucking real.
Yo, for real, like, real talk, you said it perfect. I mean, that was, I'm inspired right there. That was nice. And you're right. It's like, why is this delay happening? Why are we continuing to wait? I mean, it's already known. I mean, it's already apparent. Some of the smartest, most, you know, I guess, educated people on the subject have already come out and said that this is going to do south of 1 million, and it's going to be a lot closer to 900,000 than it is going to be 1 million. Meaning it's probably going to fall somewhere between 850 and 9. But I mean, why take all this time? It's like you had to have known that. I mean, you said it perfect. I really don't even want to just regurgitate what you said, but you said it perfect. You had to have known that that boxing couldn't pump out these $1 million you know, pay-per-view buys every single time, because the thing is that they were already so illustrious to begin with. I mean, we got spoiled. They got, you know, here came De La Hoya and Mayweather, and they shattered the record, and it was like, oh my God, you know, 2 million, whatever it was, 2.4, 2.3, whatever. You know, this is incredible. You know, this is where we need to kind of aim to achieve. I mean, it's like Floyd doesn't get it himself, though. It's like good pay-per-view numbers correlate with what the public deems as competitive fights. Of course, Canelo Mayweather wasn't competitive from a hardcore's point of view, but Hispanics and the Mexican-based, the guys that are, you know, not keeping the sport alive, but definitely making it thrive to a new level, those are the people that were going to buy it from the beginning. You know what I mean? That was really what your selling point was. So, you know, you want to be proud of your pay-per-view numbers, you know, fight Pacquiao. You want to be proud of your pay-per-view numbers, fight Danny Garcia, I guess, would be another good one, I think. But
bullshit, right? Check this bullshit. I mean, he's like, who's he think he's jiving, though? Ellerby says, and I quote, he says, I have an idea of the numbers, and we're very pleased with where they're at. Like, he says, this process is a little different than maybe it was in the past. Once I have a good, accurate number, then I'll let the public know. But the implication that was made out there in the industry, sources and all of the baloney, Floyd Mayweather is in the world of his own and competing against himself. That's the bottom line. We are very, very successful event and very successful promotion. We are very pleased with all the above. So you have an idea of the numbers. Give us that idea then. You know, where did you get that? How did you calculate up to an alleged million? Because you're getting mad that we think you did under $1 million. So all of a sudden these little elves in the fucking room counted to $1 million and gave you a phone call. They text you like, well, we had $1 million. We're going to take a break for the next 2 weeks. We're not going to count the rest of these fucking bars. Get the fuck out of here with this bullshit. Who they think they fooling? They crazy, man. They crazy out here. Let's take it back out to the streets, of course, of course.
Introducing the hard-hitting ringside Robbie.
Good evening, Ness, Mario. I hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, well, look, those of us that follow boxing are going to watch fights. But if you want to improve pay-per-view numbers, whether you're Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao, you have to make the undercards a lot stronger than what you've been doing. One of the reasons why the Canelo Mayweather pay-per-view was so successful was because they had a hell of a fight underneath it. It's called Lucas Matisse, Danny Garcia.
Yeah,
that was
Robbie, let me stop you there for 1 minute. Let me stop you there for 1 minute.
Right.
See, the problem with that is, in a way, he tried to do this in the last pay-per-view. But when you get big names, they cost big money. So Mayweather got a guaranteed $32 million for this fight. Then you got Amir Khan getting $1.5 million. Then you got Broner getting $1.25 million. Then Collazo getting $350. You had Jay Leon Love getting like $100 or $175. I mean, that becomes expensive. Multiply 75 times, and you can't even use the number 75 because not everyone bought it in HD. Like,
that's correct.
Once you multiply that, it's something like 67 mil, and subtract Comcast, Cablevision, DirecTV's 50%. You know, you're barely left paying Floyd. So I don't know, man. Even if you stack the undercard, you have to stack it on a minuscule level. Like good fighters that come cheap, bantamweights, super bantamweights, feather fucking weights. I mean, you know, the highest you can go is possibly at 140 because they get expensive too.
I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but you might want to consider lowering the price you charge people on the pay-per-views so you can spend more.
They'll never do that. They'll never do that, Robbie. I mean, look, I just gave you the math. They can't even afford this pay-per-view. They're paying too much money for the fighters.
No, I understand. I was just trying to come up with something for those of us that don't have the kind of incomes that Floyd does. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
we've always been the working man sucker, you know?
As far as these cards in Macau, I didn't buy the Pacquiao-Rios card because I knew it wasn't going to be worth buying. Now, yeah, do I want to see Marquez and Pacquiao? Of course I do, because I've watched the previous 4. But if they fight over in Macau, you know the other fights that are going to be on that card aren't going to be worth watching. So a lot of people, especially those of us that know something about boxing, aren't going to spend our money, because I avoided that card last November because I knew it wasn't going to be worth anything.
I hear you, man. I think that's the one that's the only one that I haven't bought in I don't know how many years. And I like Rios, you know. I like him as a person, you know. I like him as a person. He's a good guy. And for us, he was always there, you know. Anytime we want him, he came on. But, you know, it wasn't worth it. That pay-per-view wasn't worth it. And then it was in Macau.
And you knew he had no chance when he walked into the ring.
I never liked the way Macau fights look. It just looks gloomy. Like they got cheap fucking fluorescence over there or something. I don't know. Listen, we got 2 minutes left before we get to our next guest, or our first guest. We're going to be featuring an up-and-coming prospect by the name of Omar Douglas. Man, listen, I've been watching tape on this kid now. It's funny, Mario, because I just want you to know his father is a longtime listener of the show. And,
awesome.
But you know, he hasn't been in the ring yet. He's moving up. I think he's like 11-0 right now.
Yeah, he's young though. He's still real young. I mean, you got to give him that. I mean, he's only, he's 12-0 actually, 9 knockouts.
You can see the tools, you know. So that's the good thing, you know. There does look like there's an upside, and he sounds like he has a personality. So let's see how this one goes, you know. He's actually wiping sweat. Kid's still in the gym, and that's another good thing. Let's see. Okay, they're calling in now, actually. Boom, here we go. Omar, this you? Omar, you there?
Hello.
Hey man, how you doing, brother? Let me just properly introduce you before we get started.
Living and fighting out of Wilmington, Delaware, Omar Super O. God bless.
Yo, man, so let's jump right into it because I know that you're in the gym over there, man, and thank you for taking out the time to allow us to interview you, man. I want you to just take a little bit of time and introduce yourself to our listeners. I guess let them know a little bit about you. Start with the nickname. I'm interested to, to see how you get the Super O. Clearly, the O has to stand for Omar, but who gave you the Super?
I was given the name Super O in Fast Lane Gym in Philadelphia. Cause I was in there and I was boxing guys that was middleweight and welterweight, and they were surprised how I was doing with them, and I was cracking them to the body and to the head. So the trainer Zai over there gave me the name Super O, and I just took it and ran with it.
Now, of course, when I found out that we were going to interview you, I did my research, man. I watched a lot of your fights, actually, and they say that the lost art is the jab, but I think that that's wrong. I think that this day and age, the lost art is the body work, and you seem to love going to the body heavy.
Yes, sir. Throughout the amateurs, I had plenty of knockouts with throwing left hooks to the body, double left hooks to the body, and I also dominate with the jabs to the body. I love that. That's one of my favorite weapons. And, yeah, that's just something my late coach Lou Lum instilled in me, and I've been doing this since I was a kid. So that's one of them things that I love using, and it's like my go-to punch.
Now, you said that's one of your favorite punches, but I was dying to ask you if it's the left hook that's your favorite punch, because that's the one that I see you throw a lot.
Yeah, I like the left hook to the body for the most part. And I like to, sometimes I like to finish with the left, but it really don't matter. I can finish to the left or to the right. But like you said, I love the body shot.
Now, I read somewhere, or I think I seen some footage. No, it was a video of you, and you referred to yourself as something special. Why do you feel that way?
Because I feel like I paid my dues in this sport. I've been doing this for 13 years now. And during the amateurs, I was one of them guys that was out in the tournaments. I might not have won the championship every time out, but I was in the tournaments and I was knocking guys out with left hooks to the body. And I felt like I always, the way I was taught, I was always made, like the coach enforced it in me. Like he made me a professional fighter. Like I was never really an amateur boxer. So going out to them tournaments, sometimes I would get in. Sometimes I would put myself in danger of losing for the fact that I was taking my time, and just the whole point system thing is really corrupt. And I just score knockouts throughout the tournaments. So I define myself as being something very special.
Now you said that you paid your dues, but don't you think you're getting a little ahead of yourself? I mean, you got 11 fights. I mean, you probably paid your dues in the amateur rankings, but as a professional. Right. You still got a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, as a professional, I'm still, like I said, I'm still doing my homework. But as an amateur fighter, and just as a fighter in general, I feel like I've been working for a very long time, And like you said, I'm learning as far as the professional ranks go. But at the end of the day, it is boxing.
Now, talk to me a little bit about the casino that you fight out of. How many people could be seated there? Because, again, I watched probably all that I could find on you because I checked various places, and you seem to always have a crowd there, people cheering your name. You got a following basically out there in Delaware. So just how many people fit in that arena?
I believe about 1,300.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe about 1,300.
That's not bad. I'm going to tell you why that's not bad, right? Because remember a guy that's now on the pound-for-pound list, probably everyone's pound-for-pound list, and Timothy Bradley, all he was doing was 2,000. Right. That's all he was doing. So, 1,300 to be 11-0 prospect, That's good, man, because I was hearing the cheers. The cheers was definitely there, man. I'm going to pass you to Mario. I'm going to give you my co-host and see what he got for you.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing, Omar?
I'm doing great.
Good, man. Hey, you know what I was noticing, and like Ness, I watched some video on you this week and stuff. But what I was noticing just from your record is you fought 5 times in 2013. I'm sorry, and you've only fought once in 2014. What's the reason for the layoff?
It's been a promotional thing, and opponents have just been dropping out. I mean, we've been trying our best to find opponents, and in order to move up in the ranks, and opponents just been dropping out. So I've been having a hard time staying busy.
Okay, so if everything goes according to plan, you want to up that activity this year? How many more fights?
I believe this year should be my year. And another thing is, guys don't like to put their young undefeated fighters in there with me. And I just been hungry for an opportunity to show what I have on the bigger stage.
Awesome. Okay.
Last fight, I had a great fight against Jesse Carradine. He has fought Dynamite. He's been in the ring with the likes of Dynamite and some guy that's ready to fight, some Russian guy that's ready to fight for the title at 126.
Okay. Now,
Gredovic.
Okay.
And he came from Vegas, and we fought 2 weeks ago, and I had a great fight against him. He's a 5'11" guy, had a good amateur background. He was out in Michigan for a while, training in Vegas. So I'm looking forward to more fights like that, and just stepping up in the ranks.
Yeah, that's completely understandable. Now, I've read that you're actually a super nice kid, and you seem really, you seem very, very nice and pleasant. Is it hard for you to be, so nice outside of the ring and then find that killer instinct inside, or is it something you can turn off and on?
Yeah, it's something I've been always able to turn off and on. In the ring, I'm a whole nother guy, and I'm in the ring. I'm a whole nother guy. I mean, I'm here. When I'm in there, I'm there to dominate. I'm there to show my skills and use my talent to dominate the other guys. On the outside of the ring, I'm just a nice grown guy. I'm no reason to be overly aggressive or anything like that. This is the sport of boxing. I love what I do, so.
That's good, and actually that brings me to my next point. For our listeners who haven't seen you yet, number one, I encourage them to do so. But I couldn't believe that you were a lightweight when I saw some of your still shots. You look really big. You look like somebody who's going to develop. How much bigger, or is it hard for you to make the lightweight right now, or are you still comfortable at it? Do you plan on moving up?
I'm actually real comfortable at junior lightweight. Sometimes, like when I'm off, like when I'm not getting ready for a fight, I jump into camp with the likes of Danny Garcia and Hammer and Hank, and I put my work in with them guys also. And around that time, I'm probably like 135, 140. So, and this, I don't know what it is. I guess it's my strength and conditioning, but a lot of people say that I look bigger than a 130.
You do. You absolutely do. And that's the thing is I've seen, a lot of the strength, as Ness alluded to, but a lot of the speed, too. You seem to have really quick hands for, a guy who packs a punch. What do you think is more dangerous? What do you think is your more dangerous attribute? Is it the speed or the power?
I think they both sort of come together. If you don't have speed, you don't have power. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just like a bullet. If it's traveling slow, it ain't gonna do too much damage. But when you put it in a gun and you shoot it, you're gonna do a lot of damage, a lot of impact. So I believe it's both of them.
That's a great answer.
One without the other.
I like that analogy.
Yo, well, let me ask you a question before I pass you back off to Ness. That was my last question, but so you've been in the ring with Hank Lundy, Omar, Danny Garcia. How have those sessions gone?
Yes. They was going great. I love working with Hank, and I love working with Danny. I learned a lot of things from them dudes, and I came up through the Philadelphia amateur rankings, and as a kid, I watched them guys win them national tournaments, and all that. Like, I'm like 3 years younger than Danny, so when I was fighting JL, he was fighting open, and sometimes we would be on the same cards, and I get a chance to watch him do his thing as an open class fighter.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna.
Them sessions go real great. I learned a lot of things from them guys.
Yeah,
like,
I'm sure.
I helped Danny get ready for Amir Khan, and I was in the camp for a little bit, helping him get ready for Matisse.
Wow.
Damn. You helped him get ready for his 2 biggest fights, huh?
Yeah, and I'm supposed to actually be jumping in the camp with him 2 weeks from now. I don't even know who the opponent is, but I'm supposed to be jumping in camp, and I'm looking to learn a few things. And with Hank, I helped him get ready for a Jose. So, I mean, I get great work.
Yeah, I mean, you in the Delaware area, man, so you're not too far from getting, you know, some do you do any sparring out there with the DC and the Baltimore guys?
No, not lately. I have boxed in DC a few times, but not as a pro. Like, I haven't sparred with any of them guys or anything like that.
Now, don't you have a fight
except for
coming
Manny, because Manny's sometimes in Philadelphia.
Don't you have a fight coming up as well?
No, I just fought 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, on the 9th, right? May 9th?
Yes, sir.
But I read something that they were looking like something for like November for you. Is that true? Because that sounds like a long time away.
Yeah, I'm not even sure at this point.
Okay.
No, I'm not even sure at this point. I haven't heard anything about November.
Oh, all right. I thought I read something about that. But man, I want to just give you this time, and you know, if you got any social media where some of our listeners that want to, you know, follow on you and stay up to date on everything you shout it out at this time, brother. And you know, we definitely want to get you back on. Like Mario said, your speed is definitely there, and you seem to have power in both hands. You're an exciting fighter. I even put that in the show notes, so guys definitely need to start taking a look at you if they haven't already. You know, I'm just getting hip to you, so. I'm hearing great things. I mean, you're in the right camps, man. So we hope to see great things from you.
Yes, sir.
You got any social media? You got any social media you want to give out to any of your to any of the?
Oh yeah. On Instagram, I'm highly touted _Super O, and on Facebook, I'm Omar Douglas.
All right. Oh well, thank you again for coming on, brother. We hope to get you back on soon.
All right, thank you.
All right. Let's jump into the streets here. 10-11, what's going on, brother? I mean, no. Wait, you better. Is this the girl? Who's this? 10-11. 10-11, you're live.
Hello?
Your name is 10-11. You're not a female. Why do you got 10-11 if you're not a female?
It's a long story, man.
Okay.
Hey, I wanted.
All right, talk to us.
Were you trying to reach out to somebody else or what?
What happened?
Were you trying to reach out to somebody else or what?
No. I was going to you. I just didn't know if it was a girl or not.
Okay.
So I don't know.
All right. No, I wanted to kind of peek into the future here for Danny. I was thinking, what do you think about fuck man, what's his name? For his next opponent, fuck man, he fought fuck man, Lucas knocked him out. Who am I thinking of?
Javelina?
No, this was a while ago. This was like his first.
A Josie?
He was coming up 35.
A Josie?
Nah, hold on, I'm gonna pull it up.
Oh, Hector Soto. Is it Soto? What's the dude's name?
Humberto Soto.
Humberto Soto.
Yeah, there you go. What do you think about him being his next opponent? It's kind of an easier fight than the Herrera fight, but it's still, you know, it's still kind of valuable, I guess.
Hell no. I don't even know why would you say that. I'm sorry. I don't want to offend you. Please don't go put a fucking iTunes review that I'm an asshole host, but why would you want Danny to fight some old, over-the-hill, washed-up dude? Like, what the fuck?
Well, I'll put it...
Well, I'm saying it's a kind of a comeback fight, and it's still, you know, I mean, still ranked, you know, 8th in the world. So, I mean, he has some sort of validity, and it's kind of a comeback fight, but, you know,
Yo, whose
Depends what kind of
ranking
middleweight.
system is that? Whose ranking system? How is he number 8? Who's he fighting? Where's this guy been since Matisse knocked him out?
Well, he's been fighting nobodies, but I mean, so same thing with Herrera. Herrera was fighting nobodies.
Herrera has resume, and he's young. This guy is old, man. Humberto Soto is old.
But you don't
It's
think
like-
it'd be a good fight to come back on? Like, do you
Hell
want him
no.
after the Herrera fight to jump into something like big?
Yes, he needs to redeem himself. Why are you being so soft on him?
Alright, well, that's all I gotta say. I thought it'd be a good comeback fight.
I mean, if you want it, yo, but you the one paying $15 a month for Showtime, man. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Alright, man, that's all I gotta say.
Hey, don't be offended, brother. We just disagree, man. I'm not, belittling your opinion at all. If that's what you want, that's what you want. Me, I don't. Like, I'm not happy with fucking Alexander Soto Carras. Like, I was bouncing that shit around in my head, Mario, and I'm like, what the fuck? Carras has, been like a cat and revived his career. But, yo, Thurman handily fucked him up. He may not be the same after that Thurman fight. For anybody who was not there live or, you probably still, even if you was live, you didn't have the fucking privilege to see him up close like me. This boy got his ass beat. He might not even be the same. So, why are we getting Alexander versus Carras? Is it going to be a good fight? Hell yeah. Carras is going to make the fight. But come on now. There's other people out there. And for Tender Lovin', this is the thing about Danny Garcia. Look, Pistola fought on HBO, so I don't know what happens, but that was an eliminator fight for Danny Garcia, so I don't know what's going to happen there, but he's got a mandatory that he's got to take care of. I don't know. Pistola might accept a step-aside money. He might not even take no step-aside money because, you just won on HBO. You're the A-side on HBO on the co-main. They're clearly invested in you. They're going to bring you back. What do you think, Mario?
Yeah, I mean, Humberto Soto, in my opinion, if he could weigh as much as he does now, but fight like he did 5 years ago, then sure, him and Danny Garcia would make an excellent fight. But I don't know. To me, it's clear that Humberto Soto's days are behind him. And what made him so exciting in the first place is his willingness to engage and his ability to take punishment while still dishing it out. We haven't seen that in a while. So him and Danny Garcia, I think Danny just runs right through him, to be honest with you. And he's still a small guy, no matter what. How high he's fought, how big he's gotten since his lightweight and junior lightweight days, or even featherweight days. There's no comparison to me. There are a lot of guys I would rather see Danny in the ring with. Postal is definitely one of them. I'm not high on him in terms of I think he could be in the pound for pound talks or anything like that. But I do think that that's a credible opponent, and I don't know, if Danny's going to say goodbye to 140 and go out with a bang, I would just rather see him do it against somebody meaningful, but I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. I think he says goodbye to 140 kind of like the way he said hello to it, off the radar and under budget, because I don't know, he's got bigger fish to fry now at 147. There are other opportunities for him up there that are far more lucrative. He's obviously not going to fight Broner at 140, which would be, one of the best fights I think that could be made, even though I think Broner gets starched. Matisse rematch, I really don't want to see it. Danny won. I don't care if he was hurt. I don't care if he wasn't hurt. I don't care what the problems were. I don't want to see the fight again. It wasn't really that exciting to begin with. I think Danny beats Matisse again, to be honest with you. And then the Herrera fight, man, I guess that would be great, but...
Hey Mario, I'm going to interrupt you because you said something that it's got my legs trembling. And I would pay for that. And I don't know if Golden Boy has the balls to do it because we're already being, overly saturated with pay-per-views this year. But if they squeezed in Broner versus Garcia pay-per-view, I'd buy it without a fucking problem. And I'd promote the shit out that fight on this show because that's a good fight. And I'd love to see that shit.
I wouldn't even hesitate. That would be an amazing
fight. I have
fight.
not forgotten when Broner was undefeated and he went on ESPN and he said he wanted that green belt and he did all that bullshit made videos about me and everything. It's him and his little team because I went and interviewed Garcia about what he told the world, not me. He said
it. Yeah.
He said it. So now make that fight. I'd pay for that fight. I would pay for that shit. I want to see it. Give me that. That to me is a better pay-per-view than Laura Canelo in terms of, I want to say action.
In-ring entertainment.
Action is just more something that I yearn for more. I'm satisfied, super satisfied with Canelo Laura because it is the fight that is supposed to happen.
No, I get where you're coming from. I do. I mean, Broner Garcia, I think, offers a level of in-ring entertainment value that Laura Canelo doesn't. Honestly, if Laura's the guy that we all think he is, that could be a really boring fight that he could just dominate, 10-2, and it's just like a cakewalk. But I just can't see any way in hell Broner and Garcia not being like a fight of the year candidate. That's how good I think it. I mean, because look at both of those guys. They got a willingness to exchange. Danny's got the power to end it at any point. I mean, I think Danny wins it. I don't think he even struggles that much, but I still think it's an entertaining fight.
Hell yeah. Listen, the fact that Broner doesn't move a lot, and the fact that when Danny's done his best work is standing still. Because he's standing right there in the pocket when you're throwing, and he's throwing while you're throwing. And Broner, he doesn't like to fucking chase, and he's not a mover. This is a good fight. This is the fight that we need at 140. You want to make Danny Garcia something, give him that fight, whether it's on pay-per-view or not. And then when he moves up to 147, he's more established. Because let's be honest, Garcia's Garcia, but I think Broner's been doing better numbers than him in terms of ratings. He's a bigger star. He's just a bigger star. I mean, if he would have beat the Maidana fight, matter of fact, the Maidana fight was supposed to be pay-per-view. So they fumbled and went back with that. They reneged on making it pay-per-view, but they thought of it. They put it out there to the media. It was written as a pay-per-view. They billed it as a pay-per-view in the beginning.
Well, and if you remember correctly, it was actually originally supposed to be Adrian Broner and Robert Guerrero. And I guarantee you, if it stayed that, they would have absolutely made it a pay-per-view. There's no way they would have taken it off. Then they were going to make Maidana, when they put him into the mix and they made that fight, it still was pay-per-view. And then they were like, well, it's a holiday season. Let's bring it down to Showtime Championship Boxing. And it did well, but still, I guarantee if Guerrero was in that fight, Broner Guerrero would have been on pay-per-view, no doubt.
Yeah, man. No, I agree. Man, that fucking fight is awesome, Mario. Because I bounced it around in the past, but I just thought it'd never happen because Broner had so much upside. But now he could be used in this. It's sink or fucking swim with him already. Molina, that's it. No more Molinas for you, my friend. No more Molinas. We're not accepting that shit. I'm not. I wasn't accepting Molina from the door. I wanted an immediate rematch. But the fact that Maidana, did a life-altering move, I'm not mad at Maidana for that. So I have to give Broner the pass because his rematch wasn't there to happen. But Molina was a disgrace to us. It was a slap in the face of every boxing fan out there. You cannot give us another Molina opponent. We need Garcia Broner. That would be fucking awesome. 856, you're live on the Boxing Voice. Who's this? Where you calling from? 856, you're live. Okay. Always faithful. Oh no, this ain't wood. This slug right here, right?
Hello?
Yeah, this slug. What up, slug?
Hello?
Maybe not. 443. Who's this?
It's Justice, man.
Oh, damn, we getting a lot of Baltimore callers. That's what's up, man. Look, I thought you were Slug or Wood. Guess not. You Justice. Holla at me, man.
Yeah, we all one fam down here, man. But hey, man, I don't know if y'all talked about this early on the show or not, man. How do y'all feel about the Pacquiao extending his contract to 2016, man? You think that's a duck move?
I do.
We agree with you on this side, brother. We are not happy with it at all. We think that, it's a nail in the coffin, basically, man.
Yeah, man. I didn't really call for, much of it than that. I just wanted to get your opinion on that, to know that I'm not alone in the world.
Hey, Justice, we did touch on it thoroughly the first 30 minutes of the show. So just go back and listen to the podcast, and because we talked about that, we were very, we gave a lot more than what I just gave you now. I just don't want to regurgitate all that.
I will say this though, actually, I'll make one new point based on what he asked. Do I think it's a duck move? No, I think it's a dumb move. I think that it was a move that puts him in a position to make the most money, which was a smart financial or economic move for himself. But in terms of fighting the best fighters, like, that's the thing is, I don't know if you can call it a duck move, because Pacquiao's not interested in fighting the best fighters that are out there. And I hope we talk a little more about the Mayweather stuff going on in his fight that he scheduled, because I have some stuff to say about that. But for me, that's why I want him to retire, man, because Pacquiao isn't interested in competing for the highest level. He's not interested in fighting the best fighters, because if he was, he would have signed a Golden Boy. You know what I mean? Like, he would have definitely signed a Golden Boy. Like, if you want to take your Marquez fight and that's your swan song, see you later. But, man, he's going to fight till 2016? Like, for real, what are we going to get, dude? Like, there's nothing to get. So, I don't think it's a duck move. I just think it was a dumb move.
Yo, 5 fights. Marquez gets made. Ruslan. Then you got to get Rio's rematch. Alvarado got to get a shot. And Jesse Vargas finishes the match.
Oh, shit. Yeah, you're probably right.
Who else do
Jesse Vargas.
He'll go. Who else do that?
That's probably the only person that's celebrating right now. When he heard that Pacquiao got signed, Jesse Vargas like, 2016, I can make that work, man. I'm going to get into that mix. That dude's probably like counting his lucky stars.
Yo, speaking of Marquez Alvarado, pat yourselves on the backs, you fucking boxing fans, you diehards, you. Marquez Alvarado did 1.98 million viewers, yo.
It was, 1.39.
What? That's
that. 1.198. My bad. Yeah. It peaked at 1.39. Yeah, 1.198.
The average was, like a couple of people short of 1.2, and it peaked at 1.3. But for all you losers that didn't like the Aiden fight with Selchuk, it looks like a lot of people did, because the average for that was 1 million, a little above 1 million, but like so minuscule, It was
and that still is good. Ness, that fight, that undercard, Postal, Aiden, is still good for the 5th most watched fight on cable, or I guess premium between HBO and Showtime. The 5th most. The undercard, like, that's crazy, you know what I mean? And Marquez Alvarado, by the way, guys, was the second most watched second most watched boxing fight period this year, right behind Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.'s rematch with Brian Vera, which I think did 1.39 million viewers. Still great. Actually, what I'm seeing here is HBO has the top 5, right? Top 5 most, the highest shows. So all the highest viewed in ratings are HBO this year.
Is actually the top 6 audiences for cable fights in 2014.
Oh, top 6. My bad.
Have all been for HBO. That's crazy.
That's nuts, dude. That's nuts. Like.
But let's be honest. I'm gonna tell you why. Let's forget that they have a bunch more subscribers, man. They just have a bunch more people. There's not a lot of people out there that have HBO and Showtime. Like, I know I'm, like, in the few category that have HBO, Showtime, Stars, Encore, fucking Cinemax. I got all that shit, dude. I have, like, telling you, my cable bill fucking, I gotta chuck it over my shoulders so heavy. It is crazy, man. But I wish we had Epics again, but I don't know what happened.
I never had Epics. It wasn't available.
I want it, but I mean, I think they let boxing go this year because I haven't heard from them. But
yeah, they haven't had shit.
Actually, yeah, let's take it back out to the streets. Let's see what anybody got to say about these numbers. 270. You're live on the Boxing Voice. Who's this?
Hey, it's Jeffrey. What's up?
What's going on, brother? Talk to us.
Oh, well, first off, I wanted to, the main reason why I called in, which we could touch up on what you're talking about right now, but the main reason was how badass would the matchup between Broner and Garcia, the shit-talking between Angel Garcia and Adrian Broner is going to be. It's going to be epic.
No. You know what? I'm going to tell you right now. You know why it's not going to be epic? You want me to tell you why it's not going to be epic? You're right in theory. Let me tell you why it's not going to be epic. Because I know, I mean, not for a fact like in terms of Broner's told me, but for a fact in just my observation and the things that I know that have gone on behind the scene, that Adrian Broner is scared of Angel Garcia. For a fact. Like, it's like a hood thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're in the streets and you recognize, like, okay, that's a dude and he looks like he's somebody you shouldn't mess with. You know what I mean? The kind of guy that you go in when you see him walking, you're playing basketball, it's getting dark. It's just that feeling you get. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the dude to be trifled with. Angel Garcia, and Angel Garcia represents that for Adrian Broner. I'm telling you right now, Adrian Broner, you might be right. And if they are, like, let themselves loose and agree before time, like, hey, we're going to be cool, let's just say what we got to say to sell the fight, then you're right. In theory, these guys could make one hell of a fucking lead-up. But I'm going to tell you right now, Adrian Broner's too scared. I'm going to tell you, he ain't going to say nothing bad about Angel Garcia, I promise you. He's probably more scared of Angel Garcia than he is of Danny Garcia.
Yo, but I know for a fact that Danny is going to, you know, he'll say it like, he said it in the past, Broner too small. And he said, he too small. Yo, so it'll be good. It'll be good. Right. I didn't even think about that when talking about this fight. And
that's the first thing that popped in my mind.
That's awesome, yeah.
That all access would be wonderful.
Oh, man, that would win some Emmys.
Can you imagine Angel Garcia taking shots at Maidana dropping Broner? Like, he's supposed to be the next Floyd and shit, but he getting dropped all over the ring. You dealing with the champion now. Marcos Maidana wasn't, because you know he loved calling Danny a champion. That shit would be awesome. Yo, anybody out there on YouTube that does those South Park videos or those Lil Wayne videos, yo, do an Angel Garcia all access with Broner and Danny, man. I want to see it. Yo, that'll be hilarious. Yo, what else you got for us?
Let's see. You guys were talking about HBO and the ratings and all that good stuff.
Yeah, they blowing it through the roof over there. Yo, you know, we gotta give those
I
guys.
think that's one of the worst moves when it comes to like Mayweather's career is going to Showtime. I mean, that subscriber base, man, it's hurting everything in terms of all these people going to Showtime because they just don't have that base. They don't have that, and then. You know, they do get views, they do get alright views and all that stuff, but in terms of, that's another thing to say that boxing isn't dead. People are watching HBO, no problem. I mean, the pre-fight, nobody was even talking about. Everybody thought that was just going to be a snoozer, you know, that wasn't even an attraction, and it was. And it shows that the people are watching. Doesn't matter who's fighting. If it's fight night and people want to watch fighting, they're going to watch what's on, and they got a good show.
Yeah, but, you know, it's because they're so big. They're in a lot more homes. But, you know, what Mayweather did still brought new fans because Showtime, remember, they're able to pull 1 million with Broner. They're able to pull 1 million, you know, and I'm talking 1 million plus with Canelo. With Garcia did 1 million plus. Like, a lot of people are doing 1 million on Showtime too. So that means that their subscribers are going up. It isn't all bad. We got to remember that because Mayweather's guarantee is so high, that's why this deal isn't good for Showtime financially. But in terms of game plan, bringing Floyd to Showtime absolutely made Showtime a better boxing network. Absolutely.
Well, you know what I read though? Actually, the other day, and actually this is like about a month and a half ago, the New York Times had an article about like HBO, Showtime, and all this stuff, and the impact that Netflix has had. Actually, did you know that premium cable channels are down as a whole in the last 5 years, like altogether? But Showtime has had an increase in the last 2 years that's higher than everyone else. Now, obviously, HBO still is in more homes, but from like just a mathematical standpoint, in terms of like a ratio, Showtime has grown their numbers. Like, let's say Showtime has done 30% higher, where HBO's done 15% higher. Yeah, HBO's still in more homes, but Showtime's growth is it's there, man. It's getting there, but still, I mean, they're all down, to a certain point.
That's awesome. That's awesome because that shows that it works. And it's funny because me and Beeb was talking about that. And speaking of the Beeb, he's going to be making a reappearance today. You know, Beeb's been putting in a lot of hours over there. You got to remember this guy, his day job, he's like in charge of a bunch of people. So, he'll be back around, and hopefully it's tonight. Let's go down the line and get some of these guys in, see what they got to say.
With the blood of a Scottish warrior coursing through his veins, this man proclaimed,
I fucking love boxing.
MV2, I fucking love your intro so much. I just caught myself trying to head bop to it in that because it's some Scottish funny song. But I feel so proud when I play it. I'm trying to bop, and I can't get jiggy with this shit.
Oh man, it was worth the wait. It's the best intro I've ever heard, and I'm not joking.
Oh man, well, thank you. But that goes to Matt, man. Matt is the brains. And the fucking muscle because he puts them together.
Big shout out to Matt up. Matt. Guys, I just wanted to ask you a question. This is a bit left field, but what about in the future? Can we get Juan Manuel Marquez versus Miguel Cotto? You think that could ever happen?
Marquez versus Miguel Cotto?
I love. No, you know what though? I love that fight, and they talked about that though. Remember, we interviewed Nacho about that a long time ago. We talked about the whole Marquez calling Cotto out, and Cotto saying he didn't want to fight. He couldn't go back to 147, and they were going to even ask for him to go lower. Look, if they could find a weight class, I honestly feel like whatever Marquez is doing is good enough to hold up. But I don't think they could find a weight class. I really don't. I think Cotto's done coming down low. Marquez can't come up anymore. Stylistically, though, that would be a war. That would be a war.
Nightmare for Miguel Cotto. If there was a 154-pound version of that Marquez we seen Saturday night, he would destroy Cotto. You kidding me?
Yeah, he would.
I agree. And those guys, don't get it twisted. Just because Miguel Cotto is fighting at middleweight doesn't mean he is a middleweight. He's a welterweight, and I think Juan Manuel Marquez would beat him, especially if he's on drugs. In fact, definitely, if he's on drugs, he'll definitely beat him.
Yo, Juan Manuel isn't using drugs. He's using on it.
Okay. the T plus.
He's using the T plus.
40 bottles of it.
Yeah, until he tests positive, that man is innocent of any wrongdoings. So stop with your blasphemy.
Oh, come on, Nez. Don't lie to me. Look at him. What do you think? Be honest with me. You're not going to get sued. Look at his body. Look at Heredia, whatever the fuck his name is. Look at his reputation. Look at his transformation. Do you honestly believe he's not on drugs?
Listen, MV2, this is like the elephant in the room. conversation, right? But you know, I know that other people will get mad at me for saying like that I don't like talking about it. It's because I can't do nothing. I'm a hands-on type of guy. There's not much that I can do here. And when I say hands-on, I don't want no snobby journalist tweeting me telling me that that's what journalism is. I'm not a fucking journalist. You know,
I get
that's
you,
not
man.
what I do. You know what I'm saying? I want to physically do something to get it out of the sport, and there's nothing that I can do. Like, yo, Pacquiao's a hypocrite, okay? Because
I agree with
if
that.
he fights Manny Pacquiao wants to fight Marquez. He wants Marquez to test. But when he fought Bradley, he ain't need him to test. But when he fought Rios, he wanted him to test. Like, come on with your inconsistency. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of that bullshit.
I do my best, but my best wasn't good enough.
His best isn't good enough because if he was doing his best, he would take the same stance that fucking Mayweather did, and he would make everyone test because you are getting the biggest payday of your life to fight me. Test. Marquez want to fight? Test. Rios want to fight? Test. Bradley want to fight? Test. Fucking Ruslan? Test. Speaking of Ruslan, he's the guy who's fucking doing VADA. We don't even hear about this shit, but Ruslan's doing VADA, so no one can ever doubt his power. But you think he's going to say, I want Manny to test, or he's going to take the fight? We're talking about $3-5 million. We're talking about game changer. You could fuck up $4 million. Fuck it up. Blow it in a bar because you're Irish, or if you're like me, you fucking blow it at the fucking crap table or blackjack, but you still got $1 million to be called a millionaire. You still got one left. You kidding me? These guys they're gonna do whatever Pacquiao asks, but he's not taking a stance. He's not putting his foot down, and he's not trying to do his motherfucking best as an ambassador of this sport.
Yeah, but the thing is, now, I agree that it's difficult to really point fingers on your position, but to blame it all on Manny Pacquiao when, in my opinion, there's guys who are even more suspicious than Manny Pacquiao.
Hold on. Don't get it fucked up. You want me to tell you how I feel? I'll tell you how I feel because I'm not fucking holding any punches for Marquez at all. That motherfucker's never been on this show, not once. Not once. So why do I have to feel sorry for him? And yeah, I never seen a 40-year-old man with fucking back acne and chest acne. I spoke about that shit last episode. Of course, that shit is associated with steroids. It's obvious. I mean,
well, but look, this is what I said last week, and I feel the same way. And I've thought about this a lot since Sunday. It's hard to really like come down on Marquez without any failed tests, guys. I mean, we have to keep this in perspective. We have to.
What he did, let me tell you what he did. He only leveled the playing field. And
no.
I know you're gonna be mad, but he only leveled the playing field. Listen, if we're gonna say that it's obvious that because we're speaking hypothetical here, and the hypothetical conversation that MV2 brought up is that he is on steroids. So if we're gonna hypothetically assume he's on steroids because he's got chest and back acne, then we have to hypothetically assume that Pacquiao also was on steroids when he was doing shit that only Superman does.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate. Where's Manny Pacquiao's back acne? And where's
what about that?
But not all the but
24/7 rage that he had in the camera where he's biting down on his fucking teeth and he's looking like a fucking chipmunk with rabies. You forgot that?
Maybe he was just having a bad day.
No, and not everybody has the same symptoms, MV2. Like not everybody goes through the same process that takes, and there's different stuff on the market. I mean, look, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm really not, because I feel like that's not what we should be doing. Like that's not. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a lame. You know what I mean? Like maybe Dan Garcia knows that I'm a lame, and I'm not gonna go out there and it's like, to me, it's innocent until proven guilty. I really feel that way, man. Like I'm strong in that conviction. But MV2 makes the point, a great point, that a lot of other people were making. Like some of this stuff is just so apparent. And I think it was Chris Mannix. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Lim Sitterfield. Right after Marquez Pacquiao, when Marquez scored the knockout, he wrote this tweet or it might have just been on a blog now, I don't even remember, where he had said how it was a great night of fights and the rivalry came to its conclusion and Marquez stamped the night and the rivalry and the history books with that one knockout, and it's a scene that we'll never forget as fans of boxing and sports. But the problem is that there was a cloud over the entire night and the entire proceedings because Marquez did not agree to the stringent testing. And now we'll always wonder, and that's what's going to happen. The same thing that happened with Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, MV Show, I'm not sure if you understand those references fully and all the history that they entail, but these guys are going to pave their own ways, and what we see from them now is really what's going to dictate what we think of them in the future.
Hey, MV2, I'm going to place you on hold. We got our next guest, Orlandito de Valle, live on Boxing Voice. Orlandito, what's going on, brother?
What's going on? How's everything?
Everything's good, man. I'm happy to see that you're back on HBO. You're back in a big fight here, man. What's going on? What do you know about Luis Rosa?
I mean, he's an up-and-comer. And, just another fighter, man.
Now, the last time we spoke to you, you were thinking about switching trainers. Did you go ahead and pull the trigger on that?
Yeah, I actually did. I went down to Mexico. I trained for Nacho Beristain for like about 4 months. We actually did a fight. But, I'm not making enough money yet. And staying in Mexico costs a lot of money. And when I came back from camp, my girl got pregnant and I couldn't go back. And right now I'm training in Puerto Rico, but I found myself a hell of a trainer. We've been training now for over a year. His name is Emilio Millo Lozada, and he's one of the best trainers out here in Puerto Rico right now. And, we just waiting. We just was waiting for the opportunity like with the one we have on next week to prove that we're not back on HBO as luck. We belong there, and this time we're not gonna have the same result we have on our first time around.
Now, this seems to be a little bit of bad blood between you guys. I mean, he's saying he's predicting he's knocking you out in the 6th or the 5th round. You're saying that his whole camp knows that you're gonna win, and so what's going on? Is it just the competitive nature, or you guys had some words back and forth?
I mean, tell you the truth, man. No bad blood, man. It's not, for me. It's not about talking or just trying to sell myself in already. That I put that behind already. The only thing is that this fight was being offered to them before. They turned it down because it was too early. Now they accept it, but it's too late. So they know it. They already turned me once down. They already turned me down once. So this time they took it too late because since my daughter came around, the way that I looked at it is way different. I'm not chasing belts. I'm not chasing fame. I'm chasing my house. I'm chasing the security of my daughter and my wife, my family, and it's a whole different meaning. Like, I really not into what he's saying or whatever they think or whatever they think they're gonna do. Come on, man. Let's be realistic. 7 knockouts out of 16 fights. Who he knocked out? Come on, man. Let's be realistic. He couldn't have knocked out all these average fighters. Don't think he's gonna come and try to say he's gonna knock me out. When Darchinian, that is one of the biggest hitters, couldn't even hurt me for 10 rounds. A future Hall of Famer. So if we all agree, everything's gonna boil down to the talk. Who's talking the truth out here? So it's just let it be. Wait till Saturday night and let's just wait till everything gets said and done.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've been reading a lot of stuff now. I mean, He is a little bit bigger than you, though. No, how did the face-off go? He looks to be a little bit thicker than you.
I mean, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. You know, I'm not really looking into it. You know, because he's not gonna hit me with you know, with the looks that he got. He got two arms the way I do, and he does present when he comes, you know, a very awkward style of fighting, like coming forward, pushing you all around or whatever. But speed always kills power, you know. And like I say, man, I already out here. I'm the young veteran. I already seen it. I already been here before. And this is just another fight for me. I'm not overconfident. I'm not overlooking at him because this is this big opportunity, and it is what it is. I'm ready for whatever he brings, and this time, you know, like when I fought Vic, I have no excuses. I have no excuses this time, and I have to come with a win this time.
Now, you're saying that he's never been to this level before, but you're being put in as the B-side. I mean, he's billed first. It's Luis Rosa versus Orlandito. I mean, do you think that... Go ahead.
At the end of the day, it's gonna be me and him by ourselves in the ring. When they call me, they offered me this date because it was gonna be a 122 tournament going on. At the end of the day, the tournament all fell off or whatever, and they end up offering me Rosa. And I told them, they asked me, what color you want your glove? I don't give a shit what color you give me the glove. I just want to fight. And give me the B-side. I don't care if I walk in first, if I get announced first. I really don't mind that, you know. That I got over it, like, you know, I already went through all the hype, like, I already know how I feel. Like I asked them. I was like, look, man, if there's gonna be problems or whatever that they want to be, you put me on the B side. Let's get over this quick. You know what I'm saying? I got nothing to prove. You know, I'm going in there. I'm gonna do what I know how to do, and let them feel they get in the showcase. They get in the step up, because it's not even like that. It's not a step up. It's not a showcase. It's a big mistake, and they know it. They know it.
Orlandito, let me ask you a question. Is there any, or is there less pressure with that? I mean, does it feel better this time around that the fact that he's being billed as the A side, like, is there less pressure on you this time? You think that's going to help?
I mean, it depends. It depends whatever which way you want to look at it, you know? It could serve as motivation, or it could push you down, you know. The way that I'm not looking at, I'm not even thinking about the whole promotion. I'm not thinking about who's A, who's B, or whatever. You know, the way that I'm looking at this is that it's all business now. You know, it's all business because I need to buy a house. I rent a house, and it's all business. Luis Rosa's in the middle of my business, and I need to take care of in order for me to achieve my goal. Like, I don't mind belts no more. I don't mind fame. That all comes and welcome. I need to get me a house. Whatever comes after that, I'm good, you know. But I need a house. That's more important to me. That's priority. And boxing is the only way I know I can do it quicker and better, because that's all I know how to do. Everything else, you know, I will have to go back to school, get me a regular job, and it will take me longer, you know. And I'm taking advantage that I'm on my prime right now, and I don't need to do this, you know. Luis Rosa, after this, he's gonna have to still have a lot of time around to go back in the drawing board and do what he got to do.
Do you think that sense of urgency and all of those things going on outside of the ring that drive you inside, do you think that we're gonna see that come out in your fighting style? I mean, are you much more hungry this time around because of all that other stuff, that we're going to see more aggression? We're going to see, I mean, you're already a guy with an exciting style, but how's that going to translate in the ring?
I mean, I was taking a hell of a beating against Archinian. and I was still coming to fight. I was still coming. I was still going in, you know. Right after that, I came back and they brought me another southpaw that had 13 wins that 11 were by knockouts, and that guy wasn't bad, and that guy, you know, I just went in there and I handled my business. My hunger was still the same, and right now I'm back on HBO, you know, and come on, you're gonna see the same Orlandito or better, you know. I'm just gonna do what I gotta do. Like, this is what I was born to do. Like, when the lights are on, that's that's when I perform, and you know, style make fights, and the fight that Russell brings is just real suitable for me.
Yeah, those are my questions. Go ahead, Ness.
Well, we always ask our fighters to learn from their losses, and it seems like that's what you've done. Like, you've matured. You're putting the fame to the back, and you're more focused on today instead of tomorrow. Like Mario said, how exactly does that translate into the ring? Does that make you a more aggressive fighter, or do you become a more of a thinker?
I mean, it's actually kind of both, you know, because you need to like think, but at the same time you need to be more hungry. Like for instance, when I fought Vic, it was when I saw myself on that big screen, that was what the people were seeing. I got struck. I was like, oh shit, this is what people are really watching, and I got so hyped that I just that bell ran and I just jumped on him, because, you know, instead of me getting struck by the lights on the other side, that I was getting gun shy, I just jumped on him, and everything just blew out. And next time I knew, it was the 7th round, and it was a little too late. But this time I already seen that. I already know how it feels, been there, and you know, if I have to box, I will box. If I have to come and put pressure on him, I would do. You know, he don't know how to fight backwards. He don't know. You know, he don't even know how to make pressure, because all he do is just try wild punches. That's it. And he do it as long I stay on my A game and don't fall into his trap. We're gonna come out with a win.
So where you buying this house at? You want to buy it in Puerto Rico, or you coming back to the U.S.?
What do you mean, like after the fight?
No, you said you want to buy a house, right? So I'm asking, are you gonna buy it out there in La Isla, or are you gonna come back to New York?
My first house, I'm looking forward to buy my first house in Puerto Rico. I'm very family oriented, and I already, you know, now I have my daughter, and I don't want to take my daughter away from all her family. You know, I got my brother that's actually expecting his first baby. That is another girl that's gonna be coming on August, and then I got, you know, my mother, my grandparents, and you know, I don't want to take my daughter away on at least this first 5, 6, 7 years of her life, that she could, you know, really know her family and create bonds with all of them. And my first priority is just get me a house in Puerto Rico where I could be close to everyone, and my daughter could be around her family. Once everything is said and done, if I get opportunities or whatever, I might be able to buy a house outside of Puerto Rico. Or shit out here is crazy right now, and everything out here gets a little tighter, so we gotta go out. So we go out, but my first house I want to buy out here in Puerto Rico.
Well, I could definitely understand that, man. I mean, she's got to definitely be raised in that Puerto Rican culture so she can know her background and roots. Well, Orlandito, at this time, man, just give out your social media so anybody who hasn't been already following you can do so, and let them know when to tune into HBO for your fight.
Well, everybody out there, hit me up, Orlandito Boxing, Twitter, and check me out, May 31st. HBO 2 in English, HBO Latino for all my Latinos people out there. It's gonna be a great fight. Luis Rosa is coming hungry. He's another tough up and coming prospect. I want to prove that he belongs there, and he will be I know he will be at his best, but also I will be at my best. And I can guarantee everybody, man, that they could bet everything on me because this young veteran, hungry, that right now has a family to take care of, won't let anybody to cross by him and stop him of achieving his dreams and goals.
Well, Orlandito, we'll be tuned in, man. We wish you luck, and we hope to have you back on soon, man.
All right, take care.
That's gonna be a little barn burner, man. I know Vic is high on Lewis, so that's gonna be a barn burner because Lewis has this come forward style, and Orlandito, he definitely bangs.
I've been saying for a while, I thought that was going to steal the show for all the cards. I really don't think what's their names are going to make as exciting of a fight. Who is it? Froch and Gross. Even though I guess it's different because they're different telecasts. Still, it's still one night of boxing for HBO. But I want to real quick talk about something he said, and he talked about the lights and just the magnitude of the moment. I've gotten into a lot of stuff over the last couple years with guys on Twitter and Facebook and people that email me and just people that watch the show that I run into at events that have always, I would talk about that with Canelo. The reason why I thought Canelo was a little different coming up is because he was put on this stage to where when he fought Mayweather, he was used to that kind of that attention. Now, maybe not fully. Maybe that was magnified a bit, but he was used to that. And what Orlandito just kind of said, it really struck a nerve, not a nerve, but it really struck home with me. And he said that it kind of not froze him, but in a sense made him go out there and do things in the first few rounds that he normally wouldn't. You know what I mean? And it has that effect. That magnitude has that effect. For good or bad. You either see the lights and you see your name and you hear the people and you freeze, or you see it all and then you get overexcited and you overcompensate in the fight, trying to do just trying to do great things and live up to the magnitude of the moment. But that was awesome what he said, man. I understand that,
Absolutely, man. Well said, by the way. This is definitely Wood. Wood, what's going on, brother? Wood, you're live.
It's some crazy shit been going on in boxing, man. Man, hey, now listen to this. Now, Pacquiao, he's a very established name, right? He a big time star in boxing, and he got a chance. He got access to fight anybody over there with Golden Boy. He could fight. He get to fight with Floyd. He can get to fight with Thurman, Porter, Guerrero, all kind of motherfuckers. But this nigga, he gonna sign with Bob Arum again, where they don't have nobody over there for him to fight.
They got Jesse Vargas.
Man, who the fuck is that? What the fuck is it?
We don't know.
But you understand? Nobody not a little curious on everybody. When everybody built their name up, they left Bob Arum. They left Bob Arum, and they kind of go where the money. He didn't even try to weigh his options out.
Sounds like Bradley to
me. What'd you say?
Sounds like Bradley to me.
I know. I don't understand. I don't understand. Because I was listening to you the last time. You was making a whole lot of sense, man. It's like, man, he probably could make more money if he don't sign with Golden Boy. He could at least be a free agent, keep his options open.
That's what Cotto's doing. Cotto's doing that right now.
He's such a big star. I know you know the ins and outs of boxing better than I do, but I would like to ask you a question. What the fuck do he need Arum for?
You know what I think it is, Wood? I really honestly think it's, and man, I kind of feel like, I don't know, this sounds kind of racist in my head now that I say it, but I think it's like the fact that he isn't from the States, the fact that he comes from the Philippines and from the background that he's from and all the poverty and stuff, and then he comes over here and it's kind of like, I don't know, it seems like he maybe needs that someone to lean on You know what I mean? From a business side of things. Like, look at what Cotto's done. Cotto is going to fight Martinez. If he wins, he'll fight Canelo. If he wins, he'll fight Mayweather. If he wins, he'll fight Pat. Like, this guy can fight whoever he wants. So Pacquiao's not in the business of making great fights or upping his status as a fighter or, you know, raising his profile from the legendary standpoint. No, he's in the business of making as much money as he can or keeping as much money as he can from you know, his fights, and it doesn't matter who he fights. It really doesn't. Like, to him, he doesn't care. It's bullshit.
He gonna wind up broke, Mario. He gonna wind up broke. You watch. He gonna wind up broke. He this motherfucker, and he's supposed to be a congressman. How the fuck you can be that dumb and be a congressman? He too fucking dumb to be a congressman. This motherfucker can't even answer no questions and shit. He got to be one of the dumbest boxers in the world. He probably could.
Wood. Allegedly, the deal is for 5 fights, and he makes something like I think it's 75 mil. I think it's like a $75 million deal.
Okay.
It's got to be more than that.
I know Showtime. I know Showtime.
It doesn't. It has to be more than that. What is that? 5 fights at 75 mil. What is that? That's.
When's the last time Pacquiao made 26 million per fight?
That's not 26 million per fight.
I know it's not, but when's the?
Oh yeah. Okay, no, I feel you. Yeah, that kind of knocked me on the head.
20?
Yeah. No, that's a good point, I guess.
Yes.
No.
Yes. I know Showtime got to be kicking themselves in the ass, giving Floyd Mayweather all that guaranteed money, and it's not no short thing. They gonna recoup their money back from this motherfucker. They might not even break even. Yo, how can you make a fight? How can you pay a boxer $36 million guaranteed a fight? That's crazy. They must got plans on robbing us because the money coming from us.
No, Wood, it's a strategy though, and it's working. They've increased viewership and ratings and subscribers. It's working. You got to spend money to make money. This was a power play.
You think they have any more? You think they have any more subscribers than they still at the same point? HBO still probably whipping their ass in the ratings.
Because HBO has more subscribers. But Mario just gave, listen, Wood, Mario just gave all of you guys facts that there was already a graph done and Showtime has gained where everyone has decreased. They're the only ones, and we're not just talking HBO and Showtime. He said all networks. They're the only ones out of all networks that increased.
I wonder how they didn't sell. I told, hey, now look, now let me check this out. What I told you, what I was saying the other time, I was right now. Now when he fought Guerrero, right, he didn't do that good. He came up with Alvarez immediately. Now you see how long it took him to get the last fight. Now he's saying he's gonna pick his opponent within 2 weeks already because they didn't do good.
I agree with you. I said that in the beginning of the show. I agree. I mean, you know, sometime during the show I said that. Me, Mario, we agree with you. This is bullshit. They're hiding the numbers because they did bad, and that's why they're already ready to talk about the next fight, so he could get back in the fucking, you know, in the media, get back in front of the cameras, and start building this fight the way he should have built that fight, because he could have built that fight. They didn't even do any fucking city press tour. No cities.
They do nothing.
Nothing. They did nothing. But think that that name means that much. He's fucking losing his mind. You gotta promote a fight. You gotta promote a fight.
And his fans are fucking ridiculous. I want Floyd to go under. And then one thing I don't understand about these motherfuckers, right? If you say, I don't give a fuck about none of these boxers because that money they making ain't going in my motherfucking pocket. These motherfuckers don't exist in my motherfucking world. I don't give a fuck if he win or lose. I just want to see a good motherfucking fight. But you say something, say you criticize Mayweather, but that fight didn't look good. Because I'm black. I'm supposed to be cheering for Mayweather. I don't give a fuck. I just want to see a good fucking fight. I don't come from that world counting people pockets and shit. I just want to see a good fucking fight. That was a good fight. That fight could have been 7-5. It could have been 6-6. It could have been 8-4. But that was a competitive fight. That's all I fucking say. And now I'm a fucking Uncle Tom. See, you would think that motherfucking Mayweather freed his fucking slaves. And you don't think he freed slaves? He was a freedom fighter fighting for our freedom. Can't even like.
Oh shit!
Basically, you're saying that you get, I guess, what is the proper phrase for that? It's like he's getting reverse racism. Like he's no longer
internal racism.
Doesn't root. That's what they're saying.
I know. Right? That's crazy.
Yeah, man. You would think Floyd Mayweather was Martin Luther King something. You can't even say about this motherfucker if you black. Oh, you Uncle Tom, you should be cheering for Mayweather. Man, fuck a fucking Mayweather. I want to see a fucking fight, man. Fuck him. I want to see that nigga in there with Thurman. I want to see him in there with Porter. And Porter is a bad matchup for him. Because Porter rough, and he big. He will be pushing Mayweather's little ass around. See, these motherfuckers don't want... They act like they got something to gain if Mayweather go 50-0, 49-0. Oh,
they do.
You know,
they do.
They invested like they got some investment in this nigga, man.
They
God
do.
Damn.
Something will go good if he get that 50-0. That boy gonna break his own record and make more money than he ever made. Wood, I'm gonna jump to some other callers here, brother. 718, you're live on the Boxing Voice. Who's this? Where you calling from? Turn that radio off. We're going to come back to you. Man, since we're talking Mayweather, Mario, we might as well jump into the fact that Mayweather's already saying that he's going to be picking his next opponent in the next 2 weeks and that the fight is going to happen on September 13th. They're not waiting for Khan. According to Ellerby, Mayweather said he has no intentions of moving to more accommodating date for Khan.
You know, and this is my problem. This is such a big problem for me, and this is why I think that we'd all be much better off if Pacquiao and Mayweather retired. They're not even considering the opponent. They're talking about all this stuff. Listen, Ellerby said that Mayweather would again consider fighting in New York for the first time in his career this fall. Okay, we're looking at opponents now, but in the next 2 weeks we'll have that part figured out. Do you hear what he just said? We'll have that part figured out. The opponent. Okay, they're considering New York. He said, Ellerby was quoted in saying, you know, Las Vegas is always the #1 contender when it comes to hosting a Mayweather fight. But that's bullshit. We'll figure that part out. What the fuck? That's why we should stop watching. We'll figure that part out. Go fuck yourself. How about you figure that part out? Because this is what the bullshit I'm talking about. You want us to pay for this shit. This is a fight. I'm not paying to see you fight in New York, and that's cool. You know what I mean? Ness from the East Coast, all these people, that's fine. That's great. I'm glad y'all get to see a Mayweather fight. If y'all want to see a Mayweather fight, that's great. That's great for y'all. But that don't do shit for me. You know what I'm saying? Like that, I'm not paying to see him at Barclays. That's not the attraction. I'm not paying to see if he'll reach 1 million buys. All the shit that they give a fuck about has nothing to do with what we give a fuck about. And that's just the epitome of what's killing the sport is Mayweather and Pacquiao propaganda, that rationale that we can pick the opponent because Mayweather is the event, because Pacquiao is the event. Fuck that shit. We'll figure that part out. That's what he said. We'll figure that part out. Like it's the most unconsidered part of the equation. Oh, well, first we got to figure out if we're going to fight in New York. That's important. Then we got to figure out what the purses are going to be. Oh, then we got to figure out what the revenue is going to be. Oh, then maybe London. Like, who gives a fuck about any of that shit? Fight somebody that we want to see you fight because it's a competitive sport. This is a sport. At the end of the day, this isn't pro wrestling. I love pro wrestling. I do. Been a big fan since I was a kid. But you know what? I'll watch that shit when I want to watch that shit. When I'm going to pay for a boxing fight, I want to see the pinnacle of the best fighter in the world fighting the next best fighter in the world. You're that far up the line, and you're saying we'll figure that part out? Like, it's so disrespectful to me. Like, it's so disrespectful to my $75, too. And everyone's $75, it should be. You're a Mayweather fan, fine, but that's bullshit, man. We'll figure that part out. Okay, well, I'll figure the part out when I don't buy it, how to fucking stream it for free online.
You want the title shot at the beat? He's not even right. What do you want the title shot at the beat?
The Lebanese prince is back.
Well, I'm the biggest hypocrite of all times because I agree with everything Mario said and then some, 150,000%. But I gotta say, I was talking all that talk before the Maidana-Mayweather fight, and I actually tried to watch the fight by other means other than pay-per-view, and those means did not work out, and I got a fix. I started watching the fights, I started enjoying them, and then I ended up having to buy it because of my other means did not work properly. But I have to admit it right now. I'm going to enter the first step of the 12-step program. I'm a fucking junkie. I realize that. And, you know, I tell people, you know, you don't like the fights, don't buy them, but there's a lot of people like me and Ness out there. We're fucking junkies. I would buy Charlie Z versus Ellie Setback on pay-per-view. That's how much of a fucking So,
shit.
So I
hey,
just gotta,
sign me up
I
for
just
that
gotta
one.
admit it.
Yeah, no shit. That was just a good match.
Hey, let's make a petition. That's a awesome fight. Beeb's the new matchmaker for the box.
But, you know, that's just how sick I am. I never realized how sick I was until I started watching the card, and then my memes did not work out. They died on me. And then I was fucking jonesing. I started shaking. I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? What the fuck am I going to do? Then I just picked up the remote and I hit the button, and that was it. So I know. I found out on May 3rd that I'm sick. I'm a fucking junkie.
Hey, man, don't feel bad because I'm watching so many fucking fights. It's crazy. I am a junkie. And I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I enjoyed going to do all that research on Omar Douglas. That kid has some talent.
Those are fun fights to watch, though, too.
I can't wait for him to get a shot. And I enjoyed, you know, watching Orlandito and Luis Rosa as well, because that's going to be a little barn burner. You see, I don't let fights go under the radar. I used to when it came to, you know, UK fights because I didn't have the access. But now with the Apple TV, I'm all over that too. I'm all over that shit. I love boxing, dude. I can't be. Don't feel bad. I'm right there with you, and I'm not going to rehab. Fuck that.
So you just made an interesting point about letting fights go under the radar. And I sometimes do let fights go under the radar, but it's not due to lack of interest. It's just due to not knowing. And that's the beautiful thing about all my brothers over in the UK, because they've taught me a lot about fighters over the pond, across the pond, I should say, excuse me, that I don't know about. And I'm getting ready and amped up right now for the fight of the year on May 31st when Kyle the Cobra Froch takes on George Groves. That place is going to be electric.
Let me tell you something interesting about that Carl Froch Groves fight. All this time, George Groves didn't have a promoter. He was a free agent. He just signed to Sullivan Promotions, and he had been working with Eddie Hearns on a fight-to-fight basis. Now, doesn't that strike you as odd that Eddie Hearns wouldn't lock in the opponent and fucking, you know, do what every other promoter does in-house?
Can I ask you a question? George Groves has been on a lot of Eddie Hearns shows, though. Am I correct?
Yeah. Fight deal. He had fight-by-fight contract.
Okay, so I just learned something today because I thought he was signed exclusively to him, and I wasn't aware of that. So I just learned something today.
It was barely 2 weeks ago that he signed to Sutherland.
You know what the beautiful thing about UK is too? Their pay-per-views are $25. This is a country that really cares about their fans. This is what I love about the UK. I'm sorry. God save the Queen, baby. $25. Can you imagine?
That would be awesome. You know, that would definitely be Game changer for my fucking cable bill.
I remember when I was a kid and it was $25, man. Tyson and Chavez. Not anymore though.
Yeah.
Hey, well, we can't get everything back, but at least we got this back. Michael Perez is clear for training, and he could fight Jennings on the July 26th Golovkin undercard. The heavyweight Michael Perez, he was supposed to fight Jennings. That fight got pulled, but he's being cleared. He's good. So
Yo, you know what though? I got inside info on this. Look, I'm not going to accuse anybody of anything, and I think Tom Loeffler said Mike doesn't need surgery for the shoulder injury, so the doctors have said that he would be able to begin training on May 27th, and that would give him enough time to be ready for the July 26th date. Look, that fight was supposed to be in Corpus Christi, Texas. I'm from Corpus Christi, Texas. I wasn't that bummed that the fight didn't, actually come to fruition. But I'm going to tell you right now, I heard from a very reliable source that those ticket sales were awful. In fact, the only person I was really moving tickets was this kid named Oscar Cantu, who, if anybody knows, him, he's an up-and-coming prospect. He's super talented. He's been on a lot of the top-ranked prospects. He lives in Kingsville, which is close to Corpus. It's about an hour away. But the ticket sales were bad, guys. And so let's think about this. The ticket sales are bad. The fight doesn't have that much of a draw. And then all of a sudden, Chavez Golovkin's not materializing. They're going to need an opponent. Daniel Gell's on the undercard. Daniel Gell's now the new opponent for Golovkin. Mike Perez was really hurt and he couldn't fight, but now he's okay to begin his training camp. Like, I don't know, man. Like, that shit sounds real fraud to me, but I heard it from somebody very close to the tickets and all that stuff, and they said that the ticket sales were abysmal. So I don't know, man. You could just hear somebody from HBO like, "Hey, Mike, how's your shoulder? Are you sure it doesn't hurt? Like, are you sure you don't need a month or so?"
I'll tell you this. You weren't upset that the fight got scrapped and left your city. I'm super excited that it's in my city. I get to see Golovkin again. I get to see Jennings again. And
because it's an undercard now. It was a main event for Corpus.
I'll take it. Look, I think this is a good fight, and this is definitely a fight that at least gives us answers on both guys and moves a guy a step closer to somebody.
No, but how much does it really give us on Jennings? I think Mike Perez, it's different, but Brian Jennings, how much does it really tell us about Jennings?
I think it tells us something about Jennings, and I'm going to tell you why. Because that Magdomed win for Perez is a big win. Magdomed was the real deal. He had serious power.
Okay.
Coming up, he was stone. He was icing dudes, man. He was just a little sloppy looking, like body weight. But I don't know. Beeb, you didn't like Magdomed before the Perez fight?
Well, to be honest with you, I was kind of impressed with that victory that Mike Perez had because he looked pretty sharp in that fight. And he had to overcome adversity. So, yeah, I agree with you, Ness, to a point. But after that Magdomed fight, Perez hasn't looked outstanding. I think Perez is a solid fighter. And on paper, this looks to be a very competitive matchup. But I just got a feeling that Jennings is gonna win pretty one-sidedly in this fight for some reason. I like the way Jennings can just, fight in that envelope, basically, not fight outside of himself. Very disciplined fighter, good boxer, and I think Perez doesn't have the pop, really to hurt Jennings enough that he's going to stop him in his tracks, to stop him from moving, to stop him from using his boxing ability. Because if a guy's a great boxer, you got to kind of take the wind out of his sails and take his legs away. And I'm not so sure that Perez can do that to Jennings. But yeah, to your point, it's a good fight. It's definitely a good fight, and questions will be answered. And, there are people saying that maybe Mike Perez isn't as good as advertised. I know a lot of people have said that in the boxing world. And this is the perfect opportunity for him to prove that he is as good as advertised. Because Jennings is a very skilled fighter as well. So I'm picking Jennings. I think he's going to win pretty clearly. But I could be wrong, and on paper, this is a great matchup.
That was a great analytical breakdown, B. It was It made all the sense in the world, and I agree with the both of you in terms of what it does for Mike Bettis, but I will say this. Okay, you know what, and I'll agree with y'all in the sense, I'll put it like this. I guess if Jennings wins over Mike Bettis, then that'll say as much as I think anything that has been said so far for Deontay Wilder. I'll put it to you like that.
Wait, but Deontay Wilder was considered a guy that hadn't been tested.
And then that's sad, isn't it? Because I think he surpassed everyone in the eyes of everyone else. I think he surpassed Jennings in terms of the allure. I mean, Jennings has been on the rise for what, 2-3 years now. You know, Deontay Wilder has barely started to enter everyone's mind frame when you consider that 2 or 3 year timetable.
But that doesn't count. That doesn't count because
it absolutely counts.
You're basically chastising Jennings for being on NBC Sports Network.
No, I'm not. I'm chastising him for his lack of competition. How many times did he fight in 2013 compared to 2012?
What are you talking about? Look at his record. We just got lucky that we seen his ESPN level fights because he had a promoter at the time that had a good network deal with NBC. Deontay Wilder, on the other hand, he was on every Showtime undercard, and he was on fucking Fantasy Springs, and he was fighting everybody. He's been on HBO, like, he's fought everybody.
Brian Jennings, look, check this out. Brian Jennings fought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in 2012, and he was on the rise. And it was like, oh man, this dude is coming up. He's looking good. He fought 1 time in 2013. 1 time. 1 time. That's it. 1 time in 2000. That's what makes me chastise him. His lack of activity. Yeah, that's a big thing for me.
Remember, his lack of activity comes from when he became a free agent. Then he got with James Brooks, and now he's with
and that's fine. I'm not saying it's unwarranted, and I'm not saying it's not excusable. My only point is when you're somebody who fights in a division where you can't get huge wins, you can't have crosses to bear, like a Deontay Wilder. I don't think these guys' records are all their faults, not at all. But regardless, when you don't fight, you don't fight. Like Mikey Garcia can be completely just, and I do agree with him in the sense with the top rank stuff. But the fact is, they're not fighting. Andre Ward not fighting. Brian Jennings wasn't fighting. To me, he loses a little bit, and it's obvious. Deontay Wilder is the guy everyone's calling on now. Everyone's saying, "Oh, Wilder," and what's his name? And I mean, that's. I think it's clear that Wilder has surpassed Jennings in the eyes of most fans. Whereas Jennings has been on the rise for a lot longer.
That's Malik Scott, though, because not too long ago we were saying we'd like not too long ago Jennings was calling out Wilder.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Golden Boy. I mean that's what I'm saying is they've kind of switched roles, and I guess you can't blame Jennings completely for it, but at the same time, I mean, you can't excuse it either. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Well,
I just think you're rushing.
Let's be fair, though. It's quite obvious that Wilder's been pushed a lot harder than Jennings has been pushed.
Exactly.
No, yeah, that's fair.
And the reality of the situation is Wilder has the bronze medal. Wilder's the tall, big, good-looking guy with the knockout power. So he's easy to market. But Jennings can still fight. Jennings is very skilled, and it's unfortunate that you see a guy like Jennings not get that. I'm not saying he should get the same exposure, but he's not even getting close to the same exposure, close to the same push. And, when you're having issues with promoters and stuff like that, yeah, that sucks. And that does put you on the shelf for a while. But, I think now that Jennings has that situation squared away, I think it's going to be back to business for him. He'll probably fight 3 times this year. You know what I'm saying? So he'll be back on track. It's not like he doesn't want to fight. It's not like he's a prima donna and he's saying, I don't want to fight this guy, I don't want to fight that guy. I just basically, think he wanted to have that security of having a solid contract with a solid promoter who he felt had his best interest at heart. And I think once that, he took care of that, I think he's going to be active again. But I just think it's the style he has. He's not a big heavyweight. And he's just not a guy that'll blow guys out of the water like Deontay Wilder. So he's going to have to earn it the hard way. But hopefully, this is the year, or maybe next year, he can start getting some of those accolades, some of that attention, because I think he's a sleeping giant in heavyweight division. In terms of skill, he's one of the most skilled heavyweights we have out there right now. My opinion.
Look, I like him for the same reasons, B. But I agree with you. I've said it to him numerous times. He always reminds me of a young Evander Holyfield. The way that he uses the ring, he uses his legs. And a guy like Mike Perez, even if we get the Mike Perez that fought Magdomed, he's gonna lose because heavyweights get tired. And these little heavyweights like a Jennings that use their athleticism and their agility and those legs, they're always going to be problems for the bigger ones because they're going to get tired before the little ones. Let's take some calls here. 386, you're live on the Boxing Voice. Who's this?
Enter company number followed by
we got some other things to talk about, though. Hank Lundy, because we're talking about Jennings, another Philadelphia fighter. We're talking about Jennings, basically having one fight this year. And Lundy is doing the exact opposite. He's staying busy. He's going to also be fighting on May 31st. He's going to be facing journeyman Pepino Cuevas Jr., 17, 11, and 15. It's a stay busy fight. But, all he has to do is stay busy because clearly he's been having some talks with people, and I've seen some things I think we put out there on the Boxing Voice that he is expected to close in on a world title opportunity, especially after his impressive lopsided performance against Angelo Santana on February 21st. He's a name now again, especially somebody at 140 that can make fights with Matisse or make fights with Molina because, look, Molina signed a Heyman now, so expect to see more of him, win or lose, So what do you guys think about Hank Lundy deciding to take a stay busy fight to stay busy?
I love it. I'm always for fighters that want to fight. I always give them credit. It becomes a little tedious when it's somebody who hasn't stepped up after 30, 40 fights like a Canelo, all the criticism for him. But Hank Lundy, I've always been a fan of his. Always. I always like the fights he brings, win or lose. He's always been in competitive fights. And if y'all look at his, record as of the last, couple years, I mean, this kid, since he lost to John Molina, he won 4 straight. Then he lost 2 straight, but he lost to Ray Beltran, who got extremely hot. And, I mean, just revived his career completely. You can't take much away. And it was a really close fight. And then he lost to Victor Postol. So, those are 2 losses that nothing to hang your head above or head about. And then he beat a Jose, and then, like you alluded to earlier, he beats Santana. So, to me, Hank Lundy's in this awkward position where it's kind of like if you look at his career as a whole, you can start to see flaws or you start to maybe focus on the negative. But if you really give him the benefit of the doubt, and not even that much of it, you'll see that he's a guy who's earned his way, he's paved his way, and like Ness said, he makes exciting fights. The Lucas Matisses of the world, Danny Garcia's, whatever. 147, 140, wherever he wants to eventually kind of like lay his claim. Those are going to be exciting fights. Whether you have him losing a lopsided decision or whether you see him getting starched, this kid's going to make exciting fights. I'm all for Hank Lundy getting a title shot.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Hank Lundy. I mean, even the fights he's lost, like I said, he's been, like Mario said, he's been in those fights. And I think at any given time, you can give anyone a run for their money, and he's not an easy out for anybody. But the thing is, he's got to decide what weight he's going to settle in on. I'm not so sure. I believe this next fight is at 135, if I'm not mistaken, because he's talked about going back down to 135 because he feels as though that's a division he can get a title in easiest, and that's what he's kind of gunning for right now. But I didn't know too much about Victor Postol. I saw that loss on Hank Lundy's record. I was like, who's this guy he lost to? Never heard of him, really. And then I saw him last week, and I was like, wow, Hank Lundy. Hank Lundy won some rounds against this guy. It was a competitive fight. So I just think, Hank Lundy could win a title. I mean, if he's on his A game one night, and some of these champions are a little bit off one night, I think he can snag a title. So I just think he needs to stay busy because he's not that type of guy that is going to have any one of these champions fall on his lap. He's going to have to be ranked high to get a title shot because nothing's going to be handed to this guy.
Yeah. I think that who was Vic? Do you guys remember who Vic was like? He was like, "Oh, give it to Hank Lundy." Was it Garcia that he wanted Hank Lundy to fight Garcia?
Yeah. He said Garcia. Yeah.
Well, we got some new callers here. Let's jump on the lines. 832, you're live on the Boxing Voice. Who's this? Where you calling from? 832, you're live. All right. 312, you're live on the Boxing Voice. Who's this? Where you calling from?
Yeah, James, Chicago. Hey, what do you guys think about Victor Pastel versus Danny Garcia?
Well, that's his mandatory. Let's see if it happens. I don't know if it's going to happen. I mean, Pastel was the A side on HBO last week, so I don't know how he's not, how they don't have options on him. Danny's going to fight on Showtime, so I don't know how that fight happens. But if it does happen, that fight, of course I'm going to pick Danny to win it because I'm sure he's going to be able to time Postal and catch him with some counter shots. But Postal's going to do some serious damage. He's going to pepper the shit out of Danny. He's a very disciplined, technical fighter, and he's going to be jabbing Danny all night until Danny could time that shit.
Yeah, he got hit with some left hooks. He got hit with some left hooks too in their last fights, and that's Danny's money punch. So kind of interesting. It could be sort of like the Khan fight in the beginning where Postal will be a little bit pesky with Danny, but then once Danny stops connecting, because we saw Postal get rocked a few times, and he went back on his heels. And I was saying to myself, imagine if it was Danny throwing those shots, how would he have responded? So it's interesting.
Totally agree.
Yeah, and what do you guys think about the performance, though, by Danny Garcia against Herrera? Because a lot of people, they keep mentioning Danny Garcia as a potential opponent of Mayweather, and I think the fight is a joke. I really think that, and I think that if you're a real boxing fan, we should all acknowledge that.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. The one thing you got to understand about Danny Garcia and the one thing he showed throughout his career is, for better or worse, he plays up and down to his opponents. Danny Garcia is so much better than a lot of other guys, and he's not as good as a lot of other guys, but he plays up to them when the moment counts. He was as good as Khan on that night because that's what he does. He comes in ready to win, and he plays to Khan. Okay? He was not so impressive against Herrera because he plays down. He played down to Herrera, and he kind of fought to that level. So Danny's the kind of guy who, until I see him get dismembered or until I see him get routed, there's no way I could really count him completely out of a fight. I guess Mayweather a little exception, but Mayweather against anyone Mayweather's a big favorite. But I'm sorry, until Danny Garcia shows something or withers or whatever, there's no way you can count that dude out. I mean, he's the guy who shows up for the moment.
Never been a lame-o, never been a lame-o.
Well, in that fight, obviously he got off to a slow start, but I think he kind of got it together in the second half of the fight and kind of salvaged the performance a little bit. Obviously, as a whole, not one of his greatest performances, but he had the sense of mind and he had the mental discipline to kind of take control back of that fight in the second half. So I would pick Danny in a rematch. Now, obviously, you can't make excuses because you signed to fight, you got to fight, and you got to be on your A game. But that didn't look like the best Danny to me, and obviously Herrera has something to do with that. But I think Danny could do different things in a rematch. I think he could, pressure a little more, kind of not allow the fight to be dictated from the outside as much, get a little bit inside and rough up Herrera a little bit, sort of like, how other opponents like Alvarado did. Alvarado forced him to fight a war, and he didn't respond that well to it. So I think Danny may take that tactic in a rematch instead of trying to box him.
Hey,
like he did.
Beeb, earlier when you weren't on, we were discussing Mario happened to mention Broner and Garcia. Um, if they made that fight, would you pay for that?
On pay-per-view,
Yes.
I'm a fucking junkie, man. All it,
No, no,
I could
no, but
talk shit
not being
I
a
could talk
junkie,
shit right
not being
now.
a junkie, and
Go ahead.
just to sell it to you a little bit more, take yourself out of the junkie, like not a casual fan, but a casual fan that watches the big fights. This is on pay-per-view, and because you're a casual fan, but you know how Angel and Broner's personalities are. So, would you pay for this?
Yeah, I would pay for it. I would pay for it.
Me too. I really want that fight. That should be Danny's last fight at that weight. We got some callers here.
Motherfucking real. Dong, 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 dong.
You finally got it right this time.
I got it right and you got it wrong. You called me on my cell. You called me on the old Skype before you finally called into the show.
Yeah, I still got all three numbers logged in my phone, so under Boxing Voice.
So talk to us, brother. We were just tossing around.
Y'all talking about Adonis Stevenson.
You know what? We didn't even talk about that yet. That's so crazy. But that's because that's upcoming fights. It's funny. No one has called in about that either. No one.
The last fight I seen was the Marquez and Alvarado. What'd you guys think about that?
Real talk, you are one funny character. I swear, you always call in here. You never got your thoughts together. What do you mean what we think about it? When you call in, it's your opportunity to tell us what you thought about it.
You know that conversation that we used to have about Marquez, and we used to debate on his resume and everything.
Yeah, my mind has changed on that though.
You know, I kind of see what you're talking about. Now, I didn't really agree with you at the time, but man, after the last few fights, looking at Marquez, and I'm like, dude, he's not. He is kind of just ducking and, with the ducking Provodnikov and just going for the money fights. But I mean, he's a good fighter, but I just think he's just not exciting at no heavier weight class. He's more exciting at lighter weights.
I'm sorry, brother. You're killing us, man. Handle the background noise. I'm gonna come back to you, man. You know I love you, so I will be back. In the meantime,
ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nelson.
No, motherfucker, I didn't say my name was different. What the fuck?
Oh, you said your name was Nelson.
No, I didn't. You need to clean your motherfucking ears out, nigga. I'm surprised B didn't try to talk to my recording again.
I know.
Nelson, what up?
Yo, first of all, man, that bullshit about Danny Garcia playing up or down to his opponent, save that shit, man. That's pure bullshit. Amir Khan isn't that good, and Mauricio Herrera is just better than people thought.
Yeah, I mean that's your opinion. I think I agree or lean towards Mario's theory.
What has Khan really accomplished that's that great?
But he has the skill. You can see the skill. He just has vulnerabilities. Come on.
No, he has hand speed, and all that flashy bullshit confuses people into thinking that he has this like tremendous amount of skill. It's just hand speed, man. It's just he throws a lot of punches, and people are like, oh my god, he fights kind of like Pacquiao. So then they just they fall into the deep hole of thinking that this guy's this incredibly skilled machine or something.
I think what Khan does well, he really does well. I mean, there was a time when he would just throw punches just for the sake of throwing punches, sort of like what Devin Alexander does, just to get the volume up, kind of throw those get off me punches. But if you really look at that fight with Collazo, I mean, I give him a lot of credit because he was sitting down on shots. He was committing to combinations. He was throwing meaningful punches in that fight, trying to back Collazo up, trying to hurt Collazo. He wasn't just trying to, come at him like a hornet's nest. He was trying to hurt the guy. He was going for the knockout. It seems.
Yeah, but the thing is, even though he definitely improved upon what he had been earlier. Earlier, he definitely wasn't that good, for one. And then for two, who the fuck is Collazo?
Well, a lot of people thought he was going to win the fight. So, in the public's
Collazo's
eye,
the guy
he
that got his ass
somebody.
kicked by Collazo's the guy that got his ass kicked by Freddie Hernandez. People wanted shit on Freddie Hernandez all day.
You're making good arguments. You're making good points. But he was a former champion.
No, he's not making a good point. He's not making it. Freddie Hernandez got a luck win because Collazo's shoulder, he tore his rotator cuff, man. Come on, get out of there with that bullshit. That's the same thing like
he's trying to say that people overrated Collazo going into that fight. And I think James and I thought the same thing. But with that being said, Collazo is a good fighter. He's not a bad fighter at all. He's still a world-class fighter. Is he an elite fighter? Absolutely not. But Khan, I'll tell you, I'm going to tell you something about Amir Khan. Ness asked questions about who Amir Khan could beat, who would I pick him to beat, and I'm going to say something probably crazy to a lot of people out there. I think Amir Khan can beat a lot of people. I think he has a shot to beat a lot of people. Excuse me?
A lot of people doesn't count. Give me a name.
I think he could beat Guerrero. I think he could beat Guerrero. I think he could
Guerrero is
possibly.
fucking trash, dude. Are you serious?
I think he could beat Guerrero. I think he could beat Devin Alexander. I would give him a shot. I think he could. I'm not saying he would, but he could beat Danny in a rematch if he keeps standing on the outside and boxes him. I think he could give Floyd problems. I'm not saying he would win. He could beat Keith Thurman, possibly.
God.
Because Keith Thurman takes a lot of shots. You know what I'm saying? If he's able to wrap up Keith Thurman and freeze Keith Thurman's offense and just peck him away on the outside, he could get a decision. He has a style. He has a style that is very difficult when he's allowed to do what he wants to do. If he doesn't get hurt in a fight where he can't, where he's not rattled and he's not taken away from his senses, then he could box. He could outbox anybody. He has the ability to outbox anybody.
His style isn't that hard to time. Garcia has that timing from the
he's
second
a
round.
fast guy that throws a lot of punches, and he's quick on his
chin hanging out in the air, and he doesn't have one.
I don't think he leaves his chin up in the air. And I thought he got hit with some good shots against Collazo when he weathered the storm. And I really do like him a lot better at 147.
Well,
He looked much healthier.
Collazo rocked him with a jab coming in, and Khan didn't even see
he hit him with a good
because
right hook. He hit him with a beautiful right hook, and he hit him with a good left hand. And Khan took both shots very well. You know what I'm saying? And
I saw Khan do a little bit of the Harlem Shake. That's what I thought.
No, he backed up. He was hurt a little bit, but he regrouped. And another thing I liked about that performance too was you should see Khan hold a lot, right? And I've always said there's strategic types of holding. You have people who hold out of desperation, and they kind of grab and reach forward, and they have that deer in the headlights look. He used to have that deer in the headlights look where he just grabbed. This was strategic holding. He had a look of concentration on it. He looked focused. He looked confident, and he grabbed Collazo and controlled him.
No, but
you know what I'm saying? Sort of like how Mosley did to Margarito. You remember the Mosley-Margarito fight? How Mosley contained and controlled Margarito and grabbed him and walked him back? This is sort of like what Khan did to Collazo.
Well, Mosley did it at the end of combinations. Khan did it a little bit at the end of combinations, but for the most part, he was doing a one-shot hold deal. He was doing what John Reed.
No, he was putting shots together. I disagree. I totally disagree with that. He was putting a lot of good combinations together. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I told Ness this, and this is the thing. If you I'm guilty of this too. I think we're all guilty of this. Just because you don't like a guy's style, you know what I'm saying? You have to admit, even though that style that you don't like, you're watching it, and it's bothering you because you don't like it. It's unappealing to you, okay? It's not aesthetically pleasing to you, but you have to admit when it's working. There's a lot of styles that I don't like Maidana's style, but to some degree against Floyd Mayweather, it worked. You know what I'm saying? And I had to fight 7-5.
The cut style's working, but the thing is, he leaves himself so damn open. He's not that hard to time.
Here's another improvement I liked. He used to do those earmuffs. Now he had his hands out in front of his face, up high, and he was parrying a lot of shots. Instead of just sitting there and putting the Manny Pacquiao earmuffs on and letting his opponent throw at him, he was keeping his opponent's shots out in front of him, okay, and parrying the shots. Sure. And the benefit of doing that is when you have your hands out in front of you, you're in position of punch, whereas you don't have to keep taking off your earmuffs. Before he had to take off his earmuffs before he went in the house. Now his hands are in front of him, so now he could. I saw all his improvements. Now, is he ever going to be a good up close in defensive fighter? No, but neither was Muhammad Ali. Neither was Hector Camacho. You know, there's a lot of guys that just aren't going to be good inside defenders. And what are they going to do? They're going to hold because they're out of their comfort zone. But at least he had the sense of mind and he just froze the action. Whereas before it was desperation hold, like, oh, what the fuck? This was strategic holding. You know what I'm saying?
If he fights somebody like Keith Thurman, that desperation holding is coming right back.
Not necessarily, because Keith Thurman gets hit a lot, and if Keith Thurman, it takes a lot of shots, and Khan will just cruise to a decision.
Keith Thurman has been hit by way bigger punches than Amir Khan. I'll just leave it at that. But let me get to Petrov versus.
I disagree with that too. I disagree with that too. But I have to respect your opinion. But I did respectfully disagree with it because I think Amir Khan is a solid puncher.
Yeah. What do you guys think about Petrov Karkamov though? Because I know Ness is like getting ready to dunk on my ass pretty soon. So.
Yo, I love that fight, and you know I'm gonna go with the upset special, and I know that Petrov has so much. Yo, I can't wait for tomorrow for this fight. I can't.
Are you going with Karkamov? You going with Karkamov too? Wow, I thought you would go with Petrov. I'm going with Karkamov too. I like Karkamov.
I know that he's not technically the better fighter, and it seems like he's not even the bigger puncher, but I think he's gonna do it. I think that left hook.
I think
that left hook is so sneaky.
I think if he has to, he can box a little bit.
Do you think that the power is comparable though?
I think it's comparable, but I think that Petrov might have more power than Karkamov. But I hope that it's wrong. I hope that I'm wrong.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I hope that I'm wrong and that Karkamov does have more power than Petrov. But I feel like Petrov is the stronger puncher.
But you know what I like about Karkamov more than Petrov? He's just more committed to throwing punches and bunches. And when he's on the inside, he is just relentless to the body. Petrov kind of sits there and waits for the perfect shot at particular points in time in the fight. Whereas Karkamov is just throwing, emptying out the clip. He's just nonstop perpetual motion. Once he gets in there.
Petrov is kind of like Provodnikov, and he doesn't really like set things up. He just tries to lean side to side and do that like Dempsey.
I think Karkamov is going to give him problems because he's just going to be throwing punches from all angles, and he's just not going to stop. And he really digs to the body well, and he puts them together downstairs. He's not just going to throw one downstairs and wait to see if you bend over. Oh, if he hurts you, he's going to keep throwing. He's not going to stop punching until you're on the floor. Whereas Petrov is sitting there throwing big, waiting for the big bombs. Obviously, I'm minimizing him a little bit. I hope I'm not giving that impression, but I just think that you have one guy that's just a little bit more relentless than the other guy. They're both dangerous. They both can punch, and they both, once they smell the blood, they can finish you. But I just think Karkamov is just a little bit more committed to his offense. That's why I think that he's going to win, and that's the difference I see in the fight.
Let me ask you guys something. I know that this was only done one other time, right? But do they have to wait this long? I really love and enjoy.
The last time it was Appolino Freitas that won it, and then Freitas became a champ.
I really love this Boxino thing, man. This really brings us closer to these fighters. Like Willie Monroe, I never heard of you before this shit took place, man. And I like Willie, And I like Brandon Adams. I think, is Brandon Adams the real bulky one?
He's kind of stocky, but he's not. He's got some muscle definition to him. He looks like he's in shape.
He's not a. He doesn't have the body of Willie Monroe at all, but I wouldn't call him bulky though.
Yeah, he's kind of stocky a little bit because he's short. He's definitely shorter.
Yeah,
But I'm going to go with
excited
Monroe
about
on
this
that
Bucksino,
one.
man.
I'm going with Monroe.
Yeah, Monroe's definitely impressed more, I think. Yeah, I gotta go with him too.
Oh man.
What?
You guys are going Monroe? Yeah, this is the bulky one. I don't know. I know this Brandon Adams kid, he doesn't have that much background and shit, but I don't know, dude. I liked him from the very beginning.
So you're going to go with Adams?
I'm not sure yet, and it's
Not
really
sure,
not
yeah.
that
It's
time
a
of the
tough
show.
one, but I don't know. I like Monroe. I like Monroe.
Nelta, who you going with? Because you called in, you brought it up.
Yeah, I got Monroe and I got Carcamo.
Me too.
Carcamo too, huh?
Yeah, me too.
I'm amazed at how many people are going with Carcamo. I thought a lot of you guys would be going with Petrov.
I think Petrov is good, but the thing is he looks a little too one-dimensional for me. I think Carcamo's ability, like in versatility, to kind of switch it up, I think that'll help him in a firefight.
Yeah.
I was reading an article this past week that was talking about the chances of the two winners from the middleweight and lightweight going on to like being something or at least gracing the rankings, and they were talking about how the WBO and the WA are more than likely going to rank them at some point. The winner. But Petrov is a guy that I think.
This fight is for the NABO and the NABF.
The winner was. The first time they did Boxino, the winner was Ocelino Freitas, and then he got a title shot after that, and he became champion.
And I don't think that'll happen the same way with these two winners, but I do think that, yes, they can, number one, get on the rankings in some way, shape, or form. I do think that they're, it's going to be better for their career than not. But I think Petrov is the only guy in this case who can lose and still get fights, because I think he's an interesting matchup for a lot of different fighters. I think he can make fights with a lot of guys, and so he's a guy I think we'll see more of, or at least I don't think he'll go away like some of the other guys might if they lose, or some of the other losers. But Petrov is a guy I could see being matched up well.
No, what did Monroe show you guys in the last fight? Because he was fighting so tentative in that first fight, and he was coming off a long layoff. I don't even know why all you guys are so sure about Monroe.
It's not that I'm sure, I think he's going to blow Adams out the water. It's just I think Monroe has the better skill set. I think he is the more efficient fighter, but I don't think we've seen everything he's capable of. That first fight, he looked atrocious. He looked, his footing was off. He was throwing the jab like he had just learned how to throw the jab. He was doing a lot of things in there that were super amateurish. I've seen guys that have been in the gym for 2 months, kids that have been in the gym for 2 months that have better footwork than he did. But Monroe has, I think, the better overall attributes. I think that the best Monroe beats the best Adams. And so that's, I guess, what I'm expecting. But by no means do I think it's like a routing or a shelling or a one-sided fight. Not at all.
I don't know. Adams has serious power.
I think he can do more, though. I think Monroe
exactly.
is more versatile. He can switch back and forth from orthodox to southpaw. He can use the ring when he wants to. He can shorten up punches on the inside. He has a great jab. And I just think, maybe he was a little tight because a little nerves from the beginning of the tournament, but he looked very relaxed in his last fight.
He did, yeah. It was a complete transformation from that first fight. Yeah. That first fight to the second fight were leaps and bounds different.
Also on that undercard is going to be Nate Haven taking on David Williams. But definitely, boxing fans, set your DVRs today. Don't be like me, always fucking missing these things. Set your DVR. Boxino final tournament. It's going to be in Verona, New York. I wish I had the day off. I would be there. We're moving on to Saturday night, May 24th, from Montreal, Canada. We're going They get a Canadian special with Adonis Stevenson taking on Andrzej Fonfara. I'm going to go ahead and say Fonfara because he's going to make the fight fun. Somebody on Twitter has been tweeting us that Fonfara has tested positive 3 times. I don't know. I didn't do
The
that.
diuretics, I think. Was it diuretics?
I don't know. I gave the guy the number on Twitter, told him to call in and bring it up. Mario, your typing is very loud.
My bad.
Also on the undercard is David Lemieux taking on Fernando Guerrero, Jamil Charlo, Charlie Ota, Julian Williams, Michael Medina, Michael Zuski, who's a top-ranked fighter. What is he doing here? I guess it's because it's Canada. Maybe he's co-promoted. Is going to be fighting Prince Dooku. And I'm high on Michael Zuski. I don't think he has all the talent in the world. He's still raw, but I'm high on that kid. And Kevin Bizier is back in action. He's going to be facing Carlos Herrera. So it's that time, guys. We got to make our picks. Didn't the last time Bizier fight he lost?
I don't remember.
Say the name one more time.
Kevin Bizier or Bizier?
Oh, I don't know. Sorry, I don't know.
Well, I don't really know who I'm picking in this fight. I'm going to go with Bizier because I swear he lost his last fight. This sounds like a tune-up. It's only an 8-rounder. Last time he was fighting, he was stepping up. And if he didn't lose, this would be even worse as to why he's fighting no one.
Yeah, he did lose.
Yep. All right, so I was right. It's a damn. I'm like a fucking walking thesaurus or Wikipedia when it comes to boxing. All right, so I'm gonna go with Bizier. I'm gonna go with Zuski. Definitely Julian Williams. This guy. Well, those are my first 3 picks. What about you guys?
Yeah, I got the favorites going in. Same thing.
Deep.
Wasn't Bizier? Wasn't that fight on that was on Showbucks when he fought Dan Ion, right?
Yeah.
Was it on a Showbox, Scott? I think I remember that fight now. And that was a very close competitive fight, that loss. I'll go with Bizier and wow. Was the Zalewski fight? I'll go with Zalewski. Julian Williams, definitely. I think he'll knock out Medina maybe in 5 or 6 rounds.
For you guys that don't remember, Michael Medina, this is the same guy that got knocked out by Willie Nelson at 154.
Willie Nelson,
right?
we were there. We were there.
So this is the guy I don't know about, but I've been reading a lot about him. Any callers that want to call in, you know the number 646-478-3068, or my very knowledgeable co-host, please tell me who the hell is Eldirler Alvarez? Or Ela Dieter. I don't even know, man. These fucking names are crazy.
I can't even pick that fight because I don't know them either. I don't know.
Yeah. Isn't he the guy that he's been fighting on a lot of these cards with Adonis Stevenson, right? Am I thinking of the right guy?
Possibly so, but will all these fights be on Showbox?
I don't think so. I don't think all of them will.
Well,
yeah, he is that's who he is. He's the guy that's been fighting on all these cards from Montreal with Adonis Stevenson, and he even fought on that one, and I can't remember who was the headline, but I know it was on Wealth TV last year too, and they showed his fight. Yeah, I can't remember who he fought. He beat Edison Miranda. I remember that fight. And then that Nicholas Pollard, I think that's the fight. Pollard is who he fought. Oh, it was the wasn't it the Arthur Abraham fight? Right? I'm almost positive I'm thinking of the same fight.
Is going to be on the Show Extreme. I think it's going to go all the way down to Julian Williams, but someone that definitely is on Show Extreme, and it's another one of my picks, is Jamel Charlo. I'm pretty sure he's going to beat Charlie Ota to get this ranking and line himself up for a title shot. Now, the fight of the night to me, the pick'em one, the tough one to pick, rather, is this next fight, the co-main event, with David Lemieux versus Fernando Guerrero. You got David Lemieux. He's a guy that showed that he has a weak chin, but he's a guy that showed he has serious punching power. Fernando Guerrero is a guy that showed he has a kind of suspect chin. He went down like 6 times versus Peter Quillen, and don't forget that Grady's Brewer knocked him out at 154. First fight at 154, of course, after fighting all throughout the amateurs and his almost, entire pro career at 160. His team decided to bring him down to 154, and after that loss has been downhill for him. This is a crossroads fight. These are two guys that were hyped up that now need to really make a name for themselves based on skill and heart. And I am going to go with Lemieux. And I know he's Canadian, and 90% of the times Canadians suck. I'm going to go with Lemieux because 99.9% of the times Dominicans suck. And Guerrero is a small guy for his weight class. He doesn't want to make the sacrifice to go to 154 where he belongs, and he's just too small. Remember the Peter Quillen fight, how he looked. It was like David and Goliath. He was actually leaping just to land the left hook. I'm going Lemieux all day.
We're agreeing on everything this week. It's not fun.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you go on vacay, man.
I was basically going. I was thinking about this fight this afternoon. As crazy as it may sound, because I was looking at this card and I was thinking this was the fight that stuck out to me as well. And I was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But I just could not get that envision of Guerrero getting knocked around that ring against Quillen. And arguably, Lemieux could be a harder puncher than Quillen, arguably. And although he may not have the greatest chin in the world, I think he's stronger than Guerrero. I think he hits harder than Guerrero. And both guys aren't hard to find in there. But Lemieux's a murderous puncher. And I think Guerrero's a decent puncher, but he's not a murderous puncher like Lemieux. So that's how I kind of broke it down, the same way you broke it down. You have a bigger, stronger guy going up against a smaller guy. Both guys can punch a little bit, but I think Lemieux is definitely the stronger and the harder puncher. So, based off of that, I'm going to have to go with Lemieux as well.
Well, you see, I agree with everything y'all said, and I am going Lemieux, but I arrived at it a little differently. While he is, he's proved to have exceptional power, the one thing that I like about David Lemieux is that power comes from a very technically efficient place. He isn't just this brute that's going to go out there and try to find a knockout. He's not going to just go throw one punch at a time. This guy has high-level boxing skills. He does. The chin has been the problem for him in the past. His inability to weather the storm, I guess, is also another thing. That Rubio fight, who knows what would have happened if they would have let David Lemieux continue. I don't know if he would have won, but I don't know. He could have. But his footwork, his combinations, everything about this kid I like. But this is a pick and fight. I think that anyone that could see Fernando Guerrero getting the nod wouldn't be in any place to be ridiculed or anything like that. It's a 50-50 fight. I just think that David Lemieux is the superior fighter. But at the end of the day, I think either guy could catch either guy on the chin, and completely just take the fight over. But I'm going to pick David Lemieux.
I just want to remind everybody that wants to complain or nag on this card, this was an identical card that moved from HBO to Showtime.
That's what I was going to tell you about Zuski. That's why he was fighting on it.
This was already done. This is already what's going to happen. We got some callers. We're going to take them before we get into the main event. 803, you're live on the Boxing Voice. Who's this? Where you calling from? I think South Carolina somewhere, right? I'm hoping, right?
Absolutely. Man, this is a great discussion. Wow, I'm learning so much. Man, wow, you guys are super awesome, man. I'm new to this, man, and I'm a diehard boxer fan. But the thing I wanted to touch on, I don't know if you all agree or disagree, just let me know. A lot of people are talking about the Maidana numbers and Pacquiao numbers, Maidana and Mayweather numbers. But I'm thinking in my head that if Mayweather gives Maidana a rematch, I would think it'd be more pay-per-views through the roof, being at the competitive fight that he gave Mayweather to begin with. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking that if Mayweather actually gives Maidana a rematch on on that September fight, I believe that those pay-per-view numbers will go through the roof, being at the performance that Maidana gave up. You know what I mean? And also, you got to take into consideration with the glove situation, where Mayweather made Maidana wear those pillow gloves. You know what I mean? Which you're not getting hit. And Maidana and his trainer Garcia said, "Look, if we can wear our gloves, we with the rematch. Can we wear our gloves this time?" So, I just wanted to touch on that. A lot of people are talking about the pay-per-view numbers that flopped the first fight, which may be true. But I think the rematch, I think the pay-per-view numbers will go through the roof, in my opinion.
Excellent topic. I'm going to say I agree. But it's got to be a combination of things, in my opinion. If he's going to truly pick his opponent in the next 2 weeks, say it's Maidana. Say it now. Build the fight up now, right now, from May. Start doing this, however many city press tour they can afford. Promote this fight properly. Give maybe an extra episode to All Access. Focus a little more on Maidana and a little less on Mayweather, because we're getting tired of the same old story. I don't want to see you buy another car, even though I did appreciate you buying 2 fucking Bugattis. I like that. I can live my dreams vicariously through you, but let someone else get some shine.
That's funny.
And I think he's right. What about you guys? I think he's right. This fight does do better if it's immediately announced. And I forgot the biggest thing. The undercards can't just have big names. You can't just pay these guys $1 million to get on your undercard and they're not fighting anybody. Give me good fights. If you want to treat me nice, you want to act like it's Christmas, give me Garcia Bruno on the undercard like you gave me Garcia Matisse, and I'm fucking all in. I would go on street corners with fucking banners and promote this fight for you.
Yeah, I agree, but to a certain extent. I don't think they would be like through the roof better. Like we could expect, an extra 300,000 or 400,000 on top. But I think it depends on what these numbers look like. If they do south of 900,000, it's like 850,000. Then I could see them doing at least 100,000, if not 100,000 better rather, or hit that million mark, which would be like 150 better. I don't think it'll be leaps and bounds better. I really don't. Based on just the fact that the fight didn't do what it, lived up to in terms of action the first time around with pay-per-view numbers. I'm not hating on the fact of it not breaking 1 million. I never expected it to. I don't think that anyone should have. But I think the second time around they could get to 1 mil for sure. Maybe slightly above, but I don't see anything over like 1.1. And in fact, 1.1 in my opinion is a stretch. I just don't think it'll do anything better than that. B?
Well, I agree. That's the number I was gonna say. I think it would get is 1.1 million. 1.2 would be a real stretch in my opinion. But I was thinking maybe a little over 1.1, around that area. And obviously, this was the most vulnerable we've seen Mayweather in a while. And it's funny to say that because a lot of people scored the fight 8-4. Some people scored it 9-3. Some people even scored it 10-2, but I scored it 7-5, and I think if you really wanted to give Maidana the benefit of the doubt, could have been a draw. I don't know, but it just made for an interesting fight all around. All these people that were going at me and stuff. I put the bet out there, and I would have lost the bet. I said if Maidana wins for the 2 rounds, I'll bet anyone $1,000. I would have had to shell out a lot of money today if people took my bet. But, all the people that are saying, hey, B, you said this, you said that. None of you motherfuckers took the bet, though, did you? Because you probably thought the same thing I thought, right? So, at the end of the day, I'm glad I was wrong. If I could be wrong every day of the week and twice on Sundays and get the entertaining fight that I got, then I'll be wrong again. You know what I'm saying? So I think the fight was interesting. I think a rematch would be interesting. I think Mayweather would probably fight a lot differently, make a lot of adjustments, but that's not taking anything away from Maidana. Maidana seized the moment. A lot of guys are put in that position where Floyd decides, hey, I'm going to sit in the pocket with you and and give you some opportunities, maybe be a little bit more offensive-minded than I normally am. And a lot of guys just don't capitalize on that. Maidana did, so kudos to him for that. But, yeah, 1.1. I think 1.1. And it just looks like that's the only direction he can go right now. Who else can he fight? He can't fight Khan because Khan's not going to fight in September. Danny Garcia is not ready, and I think he realizes he's not ready, and I think his father knows he's not ready right now. He's not just going to jump into the welterweight division and have that be your first fight. I just don't see that happening. So I think the Maidana fight is going to happen. The rematch.
He's not star ready either, because after that, fiasco with Herrera, he's lost some of the luster. He needs that Broner fight to get some of that shine back. Let's get into this main event. We got a couple of other calls we're going to get to after we give this breakdown. Now, like I said, we're going to call this guy Fonfara, or I am, because he's going to make a fun fight. But this is an Adonis Stevenson showcase. It was a showcase on HBO. It's a showcase on Showtime. So everybody that clicked the link, whether this is live or post-fight, expecting this huge breakdown because that was in the title description. Look, man, you should fucking know by now Stevenson is going to win this fight, and he's going to fight B-Hop next. I'm going with Stevenson, short and sweet.
Yeah, I agree, but, Fonfara, has some intangibles here. He's a big guy. He's long, got a decent reach, can punch a bit. He starts a few decent fighters. He's got some pretty notable wins. He's got a decent resume. I think you could say that Stevenson has a better resume, obviously, but I have a feeling that this fight may be a little bit more entertaining than we anticipate. I think Fonfara will, like you said, make it a fun fight. I think he'll be game. He may touch up Stevenson a little bit in points of the fight, but at the end of the day, I just think that Stevenson's boxing ability. Stevenson's just savvy. When you have a guy that is savvy like that, and he's got a slickness to him as well, and also he could punch. That's just a recipe for disaster for light heavyweights out there. So the question is, it's not whether he's going to win or not, how he's going to win. And I think that, this could be probably an 8th or 9th round stoppage for Stevenson, and that's how I see it playing out. Could be interesting in the beginning. Fonfara may make it aggressive, may try to bring the heat early, and, may make Stevenson have to make some adjustments. But at the end of the day, Stevenson has that versatility where he can beat you in a lot of ways, and he's shown that. He can beat you on the front foot, the back foot. He can counterpunch you. He can hurt you backing up. And I think that's going to be the case here. I think he's just going to have too many dimensions for Fonfara, and I think that's going to tell the story in this fight. That's why I'm going to go with him by probably 8th or 9th round stoppage.
You know what this fight reminds me of a little bit, or what I think it could play out a little bit, is the Kovalov's last fight against homeboy, I can't remember his name, where this guy showed up and he wasn't, no one told him he was going to be an opponent. I don't think he showed up. He lost as expected, but the issue was there that he tried to make the fight. You know what I mean? He didn't just lay down. I mean, he was in there early, throwing punches, trying to make it ugly. He used some more dirty tactics. Fonfara is a guy who has some, and just like Beeb said, I couldn't agree better. He has some tangibles that nullify some of Adonis Stevenson's tangibles, with the exception of the power. But that's the thing, is I don't think Fonfara, based on what I've seen, in the Campillo fight, the Johnson fight, who else did he fight? Maurice, what's his name? Some of those fights that he was in there with, Byron Mitchell is who he starts, I remember. He doesn't seem like a guy who's going to go in there and just duck out to the power. You know what I mean? He's not going to go out there and avoid, with the game plan or mentality to avoid power first. And that's how a lot of these guys who fight power punchers get in trouble. They go in there and their first instinct is to say, I'm not going to get knocked out. They're quoted in saying like, oh, well, I'm going to keep an eye on the power. I know about the power. You got to kind of disregard it. And I know that sounds a little dangerous, but at the end of the day, you have to implement your game plan. You have to implement your strategy. You can't go in there already, kind of screwed up mentally and physically based on the fact that you're worried about this other guy's power. Even if it's justified, even if it's justifiable, it doesn't matter. You got to go in there with a clear conscience and try to enact your game plan. And I think Fonfara is the kind of guy that can do it for at least a few rounds. I think like Beeb and just like you said, Ness, the fight will be fun. But it's just not probably going to last very long. I think Adonis Stevenson takes care of him within 9 rounds.
Let's take it out to the streets. We got 2 new callers. 808, you're live on the Boxing Voice. Who's this? Where you calling from, my friend?
Yo, what's up? This is Jacob from Hawaii.
What's up, brother? Aloha.
How are you? Who's this? Who's this?
It's Ness. Aloha.
What's up, Ness?
What's up, brother?
This is Jacob from Hawaii, you know?
Talk to me, man. Talk to me.
So, like, we have a local fighter here in Hawaii. His name is BJ Penn, you know?
Yep, we know him.
You ever heard of BJ Penn, the fighter from Hilo?
Yeah, we heard of him.
Yeah, he's a pretty good fighter, you know. Well, I don't know if he's I don't know if he boxes or what, you know. I mean, but I know BJ Penn. He's like a pretty good he's a pretty good fighter, you know. I mean, don't you think he's a good fighter?
He needs to get in the mix. I mean, recently he was in the media saying that he was trying to throw his name in with the top guys in his division. I remember seeing one of those articles on our website.
Yeah, I mean, like, BJ Penn, he's a great fighter, you know. I don't know if he's in the UFC or not, but, you know. I mean, I've watched a couple UFC fights, you know, where... Oh, wait, he is in the UFC. I thought he was a boxer.
Oh, he's definitely an MMA fighter.
I know he's in the UFC, you know. I mean, I've watched a couple of his fights, you know, but I mean, I think he's like, I think he's like won every single fight of his career, you know.
No, that's absolutely false.
You know, he's
3636. You're live on the Boxing Voice. Who's this?
Hey man, it's Anthony, man. How you doing, bro? What's up, Ness?
Trying to get over these
What's
crank
going on,
calls
man?
here.
How you doing?
I ain't chilling, man. That last caller, man, that guy's out of whack. But anyway, back on topic. Back on topic with the boxing, man. I feel the same way you guys feel. Pretty much, you guys are talking about the Adonis Stevenson versus Fonfara fight. I really think that it's going to be a good matchup, a good test for Adonis Stevenson. The guy is very tall, very long arms, and he has skills, you know, like you said, with the intangibles and stuff. So I want to see if he can handle the inside game. I believe Adonis Stevenson has a pretty damn good inside game from the Crunk Gym in Detroit. I remember Emmanuel Stewart talking about how good he is as an inside fighter, just as well as boxing on the back foot. And, you know, they say he has really good balance, meaning Stevenson. So I believe if Fonfara is going to win, just like he said, he's going to not have to think about the power 24, so he has to, you know, throw that long jab, stay on the outside, pick his shots well, even try to play a boxer-puncher role where he's, you know, kind of on the back foot jabbing it and then moving his head and knowing when to hold. Similar to a Maurice Herrera versus Danny Garcia type of performance, or, you know, I mean, he's got to make it a stinker, because if he tries to do toe-to-toe and doesn't, you know, too much pride and doesn't hold or anything, he's going to get hurt. He's going to get hit on the temple. And I just think it'll be an early knockout if he doesn't implement, you know, his game plan from the get-go. You know, you can't come in there trying to be too prideful and you throw a wrong shot. Stevenson is deadly. If he counters and he hits you right, we saw what happened to Chad Dawson, and that's not happened to any other boxer, and I'm still sticking on that. So, you know, from what history tells me, it should be a hard-fought win for Stevenson. But if, like I said, Fonfara does not come in with his intangibles, he's not thinking properly, it's a big, big stage on HBO, millions of people watching, he may, kind of psych himself out in a way. So what do you guys think ultimately, when it comes down to breaking down the game plan, when it comes to Stevenson, do you think he's going to actually do a safety first fight in the first few rounds and kind of box? Because he can't box and, just be kind of crafty, or you think he's just going to come in for the kill and try to make a statement? He's the best 175-pound guy right now in the game, champion.
I hope Fonfara doesn't get out of control. I really don't. You make a lot of great points, and especially the fact that the fight's on Showtime and Fonfara is on the big stage, that plays a big part into it. I just hope Fonfara can... I think he needs to make the fight a little bit dirty, to be honest with you. I think he needs to establish himself on the inside, but also utilize the game plan from the outside, which I think is his best chance to keep Adonis and Stevenson from taking over the fight. I really honestly believe that Fonfara does have the abilities to win the fight. I just don't think Adonis Stevenson... I think the fight from the get-go is going to start off bad in Fonfara's position. I think it's going to, as the rounds increase and as the fight goes along, it's just going to play more into Adonis Stevenson's, to his strengths.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Adonis Stevenson is naturally a counterpuncher, so he's not going to rush into anything. Like, the knockout's going to come because he has God-given power, but he's a counterpuncher by nature, and he's going to take his time, and he's going to do his work the way that he always does.
Yeah, he's been fighting like that for his last couple of fights, and I know we've seen what he did against Dawson, but if you think about it, that was actually a counterpunch. That was kind of, he was backing up a little bit, so it wasn't like he was taking the action to Dawson. So he's going to wait to see what you give him, and if you give him that little opening, he's definitely going to capitalize on that. Definitely Fonfara is the type of guy that's going to give you those openings, so I don't think he's going to have to really press the action in this fight. I think the fight's going to come to him, and it's going to serve him well. I think he'll do well based off of Fonfara's aggression. I think he'll use it against him.
Let's do this chat room roll call real quick. We got Adolf Mayweather, Alec Hand Roar Cabrera, Ari Gold, Dave the Sinister, Dice Reeds. Oh, what's up, Dice Reeds? That's my boy, man. He's been around for a while. He made us that 10 count bell a long time ago. Wow, almost 3 years ago. Giving Quality 24/7. Always with these bunch of guests, bunch of secret people. Don't want nobody to know you watching and listening, huh? Jack Mercia, Jaspin Chichi, Mal Alpha, Nelta, Nothing for Something, Nintendo Radio Show. What else we got here? Ringleader X Dank, Scotty 414, and a bunch of more guests. Man, get that shit together. All right, so I guess that's basically it, guys. I definitely want to remind you guys to head on over to the iTunes and drop us a 5-star review, man. It definitely helps. Damn, 951. I'm gonna go to you right now. You just called in. 951, what's up? I mean, you just pressed 1, rather. 951, what's up? Who's this?
What's up? This is Josh from SoCal.
What's going on, Josh? Talk to us.
90 seconds.
Yeah, with this weekend's fight with Fonfara, the only way I can see he's got to move away from his left hand, because Adonis Stevenson, he uses that's a dangerous punch. He's got to circle outside of that range and kind of use his jab if he has any chance. Otherwise, he's gonna get hit. That's the way I see it going. So that's all I wanted to say. And I also wanted to bring up next fight with Groves Frost and see what you guys thought was going to happen.
60 seconds.
Well, we got 60 seconds left on the live feed, my man. Froch Groves, we're all high on that, but we'll be giving you that show next week. I'm going to get to another caller that decided to press 1 late. Where'd you go? He was gone for like 50-some minutes. Oh, wow. All right, well, that has been the show for this week. We'll be back Sunday, of course, with the post-fight show. Hopefully all these many fights turn out to be great. Don't forget to set your DVRs for ESPN2 for the finals of the Boxino tournament. Hopefully we get another player in one of the divisions. I am your host, NesGTO, joined alongside the 2 other hosts of this show that make up Voltron. We are back, baby.
10
Damn.
seconds.
When we missing one, when we get one, we missing another. Vic's on vacation, man. He's over in my country, living it up in Dominican Republic. But follow me on Twitter at NesGTO, and you can definitely check out Beeb at
JHabib1 on Twitter, tweeting out everything for you.
And Mario
at Mario Munguia.
All right, guys, we'll see you Sunday night.
Peace.
Thank you for using Blog Talk